Here.
Art Christie. Here. Joan Cowell. Here. John Horn. Here. Alan Shiner.
Here.
Sam Spada. Vivian Wells.
Here.
Shall I read?
Please.
Is this the right one? Yes, it is. Notice is hereby given that the Town of Shandaken Planning Board will hold a public hearing pursuant to Section 274B of state law and as prescribed by the District Schedule of Area and Bulk Regulations of the Shandaken Town Code for the purpose of hearing the following applicant. Regarding an application for special use permit site plan review submitted by Woodland Playhouse for a parcel located at 5605 Route 28 in Phoenicia, New York, further identified as SBL number 25112.100, located in a residential 1.5 acre zoning district. The applicant is seeking a special use permit to construct and operate a preschool/nursery school. Ta-da.
Okay, thank you. Christina, if you would like to come up and represent the project for the public.
Hello again. I'm Christina Davis. I'm here from Woodland Playhouse. I've been here a bunch of times. So essentially, our plan is that we would like to erect a new building at 5605 State Route 28. It's my mom. Sorry.
I can
Shoot.
listen.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could unlock a door for you. Anyway, hello again. So we purchased this land several years ago. You know, it is zoned residential. But the building we'd like to erect would be a new preschool. We'd have 2 classrooms for preschool age children, that's 3 to 5, as well as a toddler classroom. We were a little bit restricted on exactly where we could build because there was a waterway going through the center of the property and then a ditch in the back. So we had to get a little bit creative. Over the last kind of 2 years of our original vision, I've come back here several times with a bunch of revisions, but we're really excited to have the opportunity to go forward and put together a preschool with after-school activities for school-age children as well as our summer programming. We're currently located in the Phoenicia Plaza, and we've really outgrown the space, and so that's kind of why we're looking to do this and set down permanent roots in Shandaken.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can you do the biggest favor? Can you hand me that sign sheet? I appreciate it.
So before we begin hearing from the public, I just want to kind of run through what this whole process is for everyone that may not be familiar, because it's super boring and usually people don't pay that much attention to it. So the applicant comes before the board and they come with their application, and then we have to look at it and see if it slots into the code and how. And then we have to begin the process of bringing it into compliance with the code and adherence to the master plan. And sometimes that requires multiple meetings. It's not and the public hearing is an opportunity for us to hear from the public in case there's anything that we missed during the review process. Typically, it's mostly neighbors. Typically it's mostly people that are opposed to projects that show up to speak. It's nice to see support, but it's the board does not and cannot make its decisions based on public support for or against. It's really all about the code book for us, and adherence to the master plan again. So that being said, Grace, would you
Grace,
bring
please.
us to the first speaker?
It sounds like I don't have a big impact with public influence, but I just really wanted to make sure that everyone in the community is aware of how difficult it is to have high quality childcare and how important it is for a community, especially a community with decreasing enrollment, and toddler care specifically is something that people will move to our community for, and the Playhouse has an excellent reputation, and expanding and laying down permanent roots would be excellent for the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andrew English.
Good evening. My name is Andrew English, and I'm currently an employee at Woodland Playhouse. Working at Woodland Playhouse has been a great experience and has provided me a great workplace environment. I've been working at this organization for the past 4 years and truly believe it's an asset to the community. In my time at Woodland Playhouse, I've seen the positive impact it has on the children that attend and the community around it. It provides the town with childcare, education, and employment opportunities. As an employee and a strong supporter of Woodland Playhouse, this approval would benefit not only the preschoolers that attend, but the community as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lena?
Hello, my name is Lena. I currently have a child at the Woodland Playhouse. Christina and her staff are absolutely amazing, and I can't say enough great things about her. And she's helped my own child and as well as other children in our community really have benefited from all of her education, especially within the special needs community. Now that our numbers in the community are growing, I think it's more important than ever that she needs her space to grow in order to support the community around her. And I don't think there is enough opportunity for children to have quality childcare in the area, and I think this is so important for the children here and the children that are coming, because as we know, it seems like more and more families are moving up here, and we need that space to hold the children, to have the possibility to have that quality childcare. Again, I can't say enough great things about her. I think this would be a great person to extend these, I guess, extra space and all the sometimes working around and finding the right way to go about this. It's extra work, but it's definitely needed. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Phaedra?
Thank you for everything you all do. I'm Phaedra Dagger-Manchin. I have two parents who actually live in Shandaken, but we live in Olive. And just echoing what everyone else said, I've had two kids go through Woodland Playhouse. The programming is amazing. The summer programs are amazing. What I want to highlight is just that for us from Olive, it has made a huge difference in connecting us to Shandaken. We could go sort of 3 different directions from there for the childcare that's impossible to find. And having Woodland Playhouse does bring us into Phoenicia and Shandaken much more. So I think it's great for the town, and just wanted to highlight it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Adam Prescott?
Hello, I'm Adam Prescott. I'm a resident in Shandaken. I currently have a 3-year-old enrolled at Woodland Playhouse. I would just echo that it has had a huge impact, very beneficial for her. I also just wanted to mention, so I work at the DEP CWC office, which is out in Arkville. It's a new facility. It's still staffing up. And I would just, add that as a data point. There are probably going to be other young families like myself moving to the area to work at that office. And as has been said, childcare is really an urgent need in this area. So thank you.
Teresa Polkowski?
Hello, friends and neighbors. I'm Teresa Falkowski. I'm here tonight to talk about my experience as a full-time Phoenicia parent with no family support in the area. Woodland Playhouse is a fantastic school, and I can't rave enough about the programs they offer. Before being accepted into the program, I had to drive 27 minutes each way to the nearest daycare that I could find, which was in Tannersville. I did not find more than 2 other programs in the Ontario district which were full and had me on a waiting list. The year my son started at Woodland, Christina expanded into 2 classes to support the overwhelming need for childcare in the area. At this point, she is maxed out in her current space. It would only seem natural to expand and be able to accommodate the local families in the area. This new building would allow her to do just that. As part of the planning board, I think you should consider how much support she is giving to so many families by being there, not only with the pre-K program, but the before care, the after care, the summer camps, and the other miscellaneous after-school learning programs. The location is ideal from a standpoint of not upsetting a neighborhood full of homes on a quiet road. I can't imagine that accommodating a new preschool between 2 of the busiest businesses in Phoenicia would cause that much upset to an already congested stretch of main highway. I hope that deeded right-of-way is not the only thing being considered for denying her application. Because we as a community need to support local families that live here, and Christina not only offers a great program that my son loves to go to every day, but she's also there for the families that can't afford the program outright. She offers a sliding scale of tuition and finds other programs and resources to help make the payments affordable. We have a great community, and we need businesses that support the families that live here. So I'm asking you to please approve her building, not just for her, but for all the local young families that are in need of this amazing program for the years to come.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is anybody here who did not get a chance to sign up and would like to speak, please? Could you give me?
Amy.
Sorry.
My name is
Thank you. Otherwise, I'll spell it. People get upset. Thank you.
So full disclosure, Christina Davis is my daughter, but I'm here for two reasons. One is for Christina to support the business. The other is I own property in Shandaken and have been a property owner here since 1994. I raised my own children, including Christina, in this community. And unfortunately, I had to have substandard childcare for them in order to get an education and go to work to pay the bills. She's offering something that the community desperately needs on Route 28, which is the perfect place for it if we're going to put it in Shandaken. I think that should be exactly what fits into this plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Susie Jean Greco. I'm a full-time resident here. I wrote a letter, so we can skip it if you come across it, because I prefer to read it rather than, because I wrote it. And I'm writing this letter in support of Christina Davis and the wonderful team that she employs at the Woodland Playhouse. I have two children who are lucky enough to attend Woodland Playhouse over the years, and I'm extremely grateful to have had the experience. Christina and her team provide a service that's desperately needed. This is, what you've been hearing all evening, and it's the truth. It's just unbelievable how difficult it was for us to find childcare. And it's not just childcare, it's community. It takes a village to raise children, and in today's world, the village we need is the Woodland Playhouse. I honestly don't know how we would have managed our lives without the help that she provided, between what other people have been saying, schools, camps, before care, after care. They have been invaluable to our family. My husband and I both work. There would be no way that I'd be able to hold a job if I didn't have the ability. I don't have family up here. A lot of people who are transplants don't have family up here. And people who are coming up here, you don't have that village that we used to have. So Woodland Playhouse is that village. Not only did she care for our children, my children benefited immensely from spending their pre-K years with her. She and her team have a nuanced understanding of communication and social emotional learning that I wish was available when I was a child. For children going through school back in the day, the children who were fortunate enough to graduate from her playhouse are prepared to enter kindergarten here with confidence, creativity, and problem-solving skills. When my first child was attending Woodland Playhouse, he was having trouble with his hearing, and it was affecting his behavior. I was totally unaware of the difficulty he was having because it was so subtle that only a trained professional would notice it. Christina and her team brought it to my attention and encouraged me to seek medical intervention until he was ultimately properly diagnosed. He ended up having surgery to correct the problem that could have gone on for years without even understanding what it was. I'm forever grateful to that, because kids can get labeled, they can be put in the boxes because of their behavior, and a lot of times their behavior has an underlying cause, and Christina is so educated on the ability to do that. We need someone like her here, caring for our children, especially as they're going into our kindergarten classes. These kids are so much better prepared socially and emotionally because they have the guidance of someone who knows proper communication and how to care for children. She has just been unbelievable. I wish that you guys would please allow whatever it is that's holding her back from completing this project to move forward, because the whole community reveres her, loves her, appreciates her, and more people will be here in this community to support her if you allow it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. There are no further comments. Board have anything to add? Okay. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Do you want to mention?
I'll make a motion to close it.
Oh,
Sorry?
I thought we'd do that during communication.
Well, they were for the public hearing.
Oh, we have quite a stack of emails here.
I counted.
Are they all in support?
All in support, yeah.
Okay, so, a lot of, yes, yes, these will be entered into the record for this, with this file. Okay. Motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Okay, next item, we'll open up the public hearing for Bruce Campbell and Laura Veith. I apologize if I mispronounce your name. Veith? Okay. No.
I can read them.
Yeah, would you please read the,
Notice is hereby given that the Town of Shandaken Planning Board will hold a public hearing pursuant to section 274B of state law and as prescribed by the district schedule of area and bulk regulations of the Shandaken Town Code for the purpose of hearing the following applicant. Regarding an application for subdivision submitted by Bruce Campbell and Laura Veith for a parcel located at 6323 Route 28 in Phoenicia, further identified as SBL number 13.7-1-30, located in a residential 1.5 acre zoning district. Applicant would like to subdivide the 23.3 acre parcel into two lots, lot 1, 10.7 acres, lot 2, 12.6 acres.
okay, if you would kindly come up and just run through very quickly what it is you're doing for the benefit of the public.
Bruce Campbell, I'm the applicant. We're dividing our plot so that we can build a second house, and because the house that we live in is very small. We have a family of 4 and a 2-bedroom, and essentially we're just outgrowing the space we're in, and we'd like to have a bigger home to live in. So that's
Perfect.
about it. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, very straightforward. Any comments?
What zone is that? Does anybody know?
I'm looking at the agenda here. Isn't Woodland Playhouse come first on the regular meeting?
We haven't gotten there yet.
I thought Campbell and Veith are not. We're still in.
This is the second hearing, and then I'd have that on.
Oh, so there's another. This is a special hearing.
Grace, what zone is it?
Residential 1.5.
Yes.
Okay, motion to close the public hearing?
I'll second.
All in favor?
All right, moving on to the regular meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from the previous meeting? Any comments, correction? Yes.
It's excellent minutes, best I've ever read, and I wish Olivia was here to hear me say that. So tell her.
I will.
Motion to approve?
I make the motion to approve as written.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, no communications, is that correct? Except for the emails?
Outside of the email from Peter.
Okay. No, we'll address that later. Okay, old business. Woodland Playhouse Site Plan Special Use Permit. Any further comments from the board based on what we've already looked at?
I think we've heard nothing but positive feedback from this hearing, and I see no reason why we should not approve the special use permit since we've not gone past the public hearing.
Okay. Motion to approve?
I second it. I would like to say something. I don't want the people to think that there was a delay in your decision because of the board. We were waiting for the health department's approval, and that's what detained the whole thing. So I think that everybody in this room, as well as the people on this board, are grateful for the child care that's given in our neighborhood, and we appreciate it. But I just want to make sure that it wasn't directed toward us in any type of delay.
Okay, we've got a motion on the table. Vivian now.
Okay, thank you. I'm ready. I know things. Rebecca?
Yes.
Art Christie?
Yes.
Joanne Cowell?
Yes.
John Horn?
Yes.
Alan Shiner?
Yes.
Sam's not here. Vivian Welton?
Yes.
There you go. Good luck. Yeah. You're done with this board. Now you go upstairs.
Well, now, I just, there's actually a grant available, and Mark has asked me several times, like, larger kinds of grants. And there's a state grant available right now, for $500,000 more for us to build. But it's due by May 22nd, so I'm gonna hold you that.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Sorry. Could you guys kindly close that door? Thank you. Moving on. Bruce Campbell, Laura Veith. I have no comments. Okay. Somebody would make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the subdivision for Bruce Campbell and Laura Veith.
I'll second.
Clifford Bucko?
Yes.
Art Christie?
Yes.
Joanne Cowell?
Yes.
John Horn?
Yes.
Alan Shiner?
Yes.
Vivian?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay, you are all good, Bruce.
Just get some Mylars to us
Yes.
so they can be signed and all that.
If you get them here, I'll come in and sign them so you can get them submitted to county and all that. Perfect.
Okay.
You're welcome to stay, but don't feel you need to. Okay. New business. Philip Mons. Good evening.
3 copies. Okay, here is a set of plans inside. Now I'm going to give you this copy so you can follow along. Okay, this is actually everybody else. I wasn't here at the meeting. And there was a suggestion that we put parking spots in. I did get the parking spots into the plan. Right here is the parking spot. Right there is the parking location. Okay, there is the empty parking there for 6 cars, 4 here and 2 here.
Okay.
right in this area here is the new parking area that was proposed. That was one of the questions.
Great.
Okay. John, you also requested that, that spreadsheet.
He wants to go with
As
another
to
half.
the proposed and the existing, there is a spreadsheet
It's
on
got a
there
big, pretty big spot.
that does itemize everything.
That's the reserve area for the septic.
That's
Right.
abandoned, being corrected, and being replaced. Excellent. Okay.
I had one question. Why
Where is this house he's gonna build?
the horseshoe?
No.
Was that to avoid your property?
Right there,
No. It's the area of business there.
1 bedroom.
Okay, three.
That's where he lives now.
I think there's a detailed map on there as to where it is located.
Where is this located? Where do you,
It's located right near Bel-Air's parking for their cars. Not cars, trucks. The work area, their work area.
Where is this located?
I know. Okay, the exact location is gonna be on the second or third page right
could you explain, could you
Yes.
explain this to me, please? Thank you. Is this the new building that's proposed?
there. No, yes, it is.
Right?
Yes.
This is septic area. This is an existing duplex.
Correct.
Okay. Sanitary line. Where is the driveway
Driveway's right here.
to get to this one?
Don't need a driveway for that. It's an accessory dwelling.
You're gonna walk there?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
There is a pathway if need be.
Yeah. And the parking is gonna be up in the area, same area too? Right here, parking area?
4+ in this area, 2 additional here if need be, and there's additional space in here if needed. New York State Electric and Gas is actually going to be replacing this pole, so we can put an underground surface in.
And what zone is this that we're in?
R3
R3?
and 1.5 pole.
Oh, where does line split?
Yeah, like in here.
Okay, up top?
Yes. Little cockroach.
It's a big area.
Concrete. Yes, sir.
You want to see it? Wish I could smoke.
What's this pump pad? The pump pad?
That's the district line.
That was an old existing
Slide it up a little so I can, yeah.
pump
Slide it
room.
up a
There
little
was
so
a
I can
pump
see it on
here,
the map.
came up from here. The room that was attached to this
Comes from the point?
disappeared about 32 years ago, actually.
Okay.
It's just there for the sake of being there.
And what's this right here?
That is a separate reserve area.
1.5 and 3.
Calculations for
Water for this comes from,
water for it is going to come from here via underground service. Boom.
okay. Same well, same septic.
You have the health department approvals already, or,
It will go in process. We probably don't do the health department approval.
well, you're putting a new septic field in?
Only if we hear, there is an existing septic there already.
Adding a bedroom? You're adding a bedroom?
More than well classified for it.
Okay.
The existing bathrooms have all been changed to low flush at this point. The old one was based on, Wi-Fi flows.
You have dimensions of this somewhere?
I'm not following this.
The word dimensions on the original, in the original one, it is 30
Pump it back up here.
600 square feet.
Septic reserve area.
Yeah.
Pump this way, it's downhill.
So there is a picture of the existing dwelling in the report.
That's the reserve area, but is it for here? Or for the new house?
Yeah, it's still
Septic,
Let's have a look at that one again with the drawing.
approximate SDS.
Oh, thanks, I got it. Thanks.
Pressure tanks,
So I'm just curious about the second floor roof still, and you're changing from the first floor to the second floor?
down, so we want this way.
No, you're saying that there was one on the
There
first
was.
floor before, yeah.
First of all, the ground floor is just a storage space. It's almost going to be a storage. Okay, second floor, it's going to be living space, and at that point, it's going to be still there for obvious purposes, as well as the secondary reasons.
So the kitchen and the bathroom.
This is the existing septic
Everything's
line,
going to be second floor, except
and he wants it connected in. I don't know if it's a field or what it is.
and 60,000
I don't think it matters to us. I think we should just let it go.
This is the reserve area, 100 feet setback from the well.
Right, and so if he's forced to put in a reserve area, it's a very big.
One bedroom, and then use common area, this is the kitchen, dining room, and. No, initially, these are the bedrooms. We're basically downsizing for 21st century purposes.
Is Alan here for you?
No, we don't use
He's not. I saw it. I knew he was here for something else. I didn't know.
He had asked me if I needed him, I said, no, I don't need you.
Have you signed off on all these wastewater flows?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
But on the same side, we decided to include the 100% area, so both buildings are served, both duplex buildings are served by the existing sewer system, but we want to apply reserve area.
If needed.
I took all the calculations for the flows, came up with a very conservative, application rate based on, the very conservative, percolation rate. Even though I had done that, and, Mr. Marshall, the soils, I placed by that as extra. My property really the soils is a very using extremely conservative. That's how I size the area. So it's basically size 40 places forever.
So you're the engineer on the project?
Yes. But I'm here to talk about it. I know that I'm going to use it.
What is
Yeah,
it?
it's county. So that's something we could help in our offices. And that sewage reserve area is based on standard, 60 white pressure, 60 on the center. And normal 60 foot. Based on some of the, simply the system as well. Correct. And we also make sure that.
Chris over there is the representative from SLR. We'll hear from him shortly. Do you have an application for this?
Yeah, it's in your folder.
Do we need a public hearing?
Bless you.
Actually, someone else has a copy of this.
They all have copies.
They all have copies.
You have one in your folder.
Do we need a public hearing?
Especially for
Good for you.
I read the whole thing already.
And you're not doing any expansions on the building. It looks like you're just changing some stuff inside. You're not doing any expansion to the building. It's all
Just
internal and cosmetic.
No, utility room on the ground floor is supposed to be A. Okay, it's going to be an 8 by 10 utility room, first floor only. Plan simple concrete mass unit, as I told, initial description. Wood frame.
Yeah, that's pretty much, you're well within your setbacks. And there's nothing wrong with this well, you just stopped using it? The abandoned well?
Well, has never been used since 1963, which is when it's property was purchased. It was probably last week in 1947 when the property went on hotel term. Okay. It was the former Holiday Lodge.
Okay. Hence the duplex. Sure. What's that? Bedrooms?
You're reducing it.
Yeah.
No, it was reduced by fire, apparently.
It was reduced all the way. If everyone would look through the short form EAF. I just got the. Yeah, it should be in there.
I don't have.
You don't have one either?
It's from the
last
Okay.
It's attached to the application, guys.
Yeah.
No, mine doesn't. Mine is separate. No, I have it. I have it.
Did you look at it already?
I think you're the first person that ever listed town roads as bicycle routes. Anybody have any more questions or comments?
I see
No, I
nothing.
don't.
Nothing, let me see. Thank you.
All right, no further comments. We can move this forward to a public hearing.
We set a public hearing for next month for this, special use permit for the office.
Need a second?
I second.
And that is May 8th?
Yeah.
May 8th at 7:45? I'm sorry, 6:45. Does that work for you guys?
We might make it work.
Okay.
Thank you. You need copies, yes, sir?
Yep. Yeah, well, until next month.
You can hold on to it.
Did we skip over crossroads on the?
No, we can get to it, yeah. Don't you have an agenda, John?
The 8th, May. Thank you very much. May 8th.
Okay. Plank Road, we're up. Come on up.
You're not from Orem, are you? No. No, okay, that's, yeah, no, not yet. They haven't presented the application to the board yet. I don't know that it's ready for public comment.
What is this?
He's not Orem?
No, he's in a butter to Orem.
Oh, yeah, no, we're not ready for that yet. In general. Yeah, so it's just they're just presenting to the board now for the first time, the application. You're welcome to stay, it's public.
Take one and pass it down.
Yes, please. You didn't jump up quick enough. Oh, sorry.
You again?
Well, I'm here for this tonight. I was here just in case people would like to busy. I see I brought some extra copies just in case, but I also see that rendering is going to be half by 11, so it's 11 by 6 inches of that rendering useful. That would help.
I'm sorry.
I said on the rendering, I see you have 8 half by 11. So it's 11 by 17.
Okay, perfect.
I know you accept that, but everyone else It's the same copy of what you have, it's just bigger.
Thank you.
And then I believe you have 11 by 17 with everything else. If you don't, go ahead and copy just it. Okay, I wouldn't be the only one here tonight on behalf of the project. The project sponsor, Sarah Noyer, traveling to work. Julie out in the area, and Mike Memorial of the project attorney. I double up, there was no meeting, I and the last meeting, unfortunately, I couldn't make it because I was double up for planning board meetings that night, which is why Mike and the part of our office were here. If I could start, since Sam couldn't be here, and then I'll speak on behalf of Mike and myself, I asked him to just give me a statement to read on his behalf. And if you want to copy of this, I cut it and paste it out of the email. Dear planning board members, thank you for your time and patience with this project. Over the past 5 years, we have taken all the feedback, notes, comments, and have made significant changes, reductions and modifications to our project. We will have shrunken to only use the existing site, create a beautiful B&B in the existing building. We plan on spending a lot of time and money to restore the Rainstone building at site. The ice house is a small hangout room area for in guests. The spa will have a sauna, ski room, hangout area to relax and sleep, and a few hot spots intended for guests. If we have space, we allow locals and other people to buy day pass. We will only have one full-time manager on site living there. We will have one local person come and work at the spa during hours we need them, and the same way with landscaping cleaning people. There will be a landline
you have any questions, please let me know. So I apologize, that wasn't submitted previously, but that was just a statement I read tonight. I see it. So with that said, I'm just going to kind of flip through larger versions of what you have there. Go through my notes. So, what I brought with you tonight, what you have in your packets is project plans, the site plan set, the architectural plans from Dutton Architecture in Kingston, small square plans, an entrance plan, an impervious area plan. As you know from several years, this site has been in front of the planning board. It's gone through 2 iterations, the most recent being significantly smaller. I did receive a note yesterday from Chris via Grace, or so to say, from Chris via Cliff Grace, regarding a comparison of the prior project versus the current project. I don't have anything to formally submit on that, but I did jot down a few notes which I should just kind of go through briefly, and then if you need it formally, I can do that. I was just going to do that before I start going over the plan set.
Perfect.
So, just so you know, I'm actually going to flip to the first page of the site plan set, and then I'm going to come back to the architectural drawings.
We have an easel, that would be easier.
If you do that, that'd be great.
It's right up there, on top of that.
And I can start talking about it. So basically, the project originally proposed different iterations, different consultant, had 3 large buildings proposed. Now they're proposing 1 medium-sized building.
It's missing the easel. It's missing the easel part.
It's okay. I'll be okay. I'll be okay. Don't worry. It's okay. I can. Oh, there we go.
Thanks, Chris.
I usually don't bring resources, but I usually have someone else to hold the I'm not going to the project team here. So, just looking at the existing conditions, so I can kind of walk through quickly, prior versus current. Originally, there was 3 large building proposals, not shown on my plan. If you recall, there was a pool complex, a 2-story hotel, and then a restaurant complex. That's been deleted from the site plan. It's now basically reusing the existing buildings, putting in a spa building, which I will go through in detail when we get to that. The facility, the site currently houses 3 houses. The former iteration was proposing basically keep 2 knocked down 1. One of the ones they were keeping was the older 6-bedroom base-stone launch. That building was being kept as a 2-bedroom ranch house on the east end towards Kingston. The 3-bedroom houses they were going to remove, we're going to keep on site. For logic, the lodging's been cut in more than half. Originally, it was going to be a 24-room, 2-story hotel. Now it's going to be 11 bedrooms, just using the 11 bedrooms on site. So no bedrooms are being added beyond the existing bedrooms on site. It's basically going from a 3-house compound to a 3-house inn. Was 11 bedrooms current, is 11 bedrooms currently, will be 11 bedrooms in the future. Food service was a 98-seat restaurant, plus a 40-seat snack bar. So 138 seats, we're having a 14 seats cafe. So that's been cut by like 90%. The pool complex, originally there was 2 pools in a pool building with a snack bar. We're now doing 2 hot tubs next to the post spa.
Could I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
I tell you the same thing I told the previous fellow. Wouldn't it be nice to have a chart that says now?
We actually asked for that.
I got no answer.
Yeah.
I can take this as a chart, I just kind of brought this together this afternoon to kind of answer this question. If I recall correctly, Chris sent a note to you. And you said
Yes, he just received it.
Just so I was trying to answer your question after receiving it yesterday.
I don't think we care about what has been
We do.
step 1, 2, 3.
We care, John, we care.
Now, proposed.
Okay, I'm going to make my part here. First, I start to respond to the email I got yesterday, which I was very sorry about. So, just to kind of cover a couple of things. The inn will be open 7 days a week, the spas will be open 4 days a week. There was parking spots proposed, it's now down to 22 existing proposed
So,
spots.
Alan, Thursday through Monday?
Yes. Yes. I think it's Thursday through Sunday, so I was out for it.
Right,
What is it?
fair, yes, yes.
I apologize.
But it's the weekend, and so, yes.
What is?
4 days the spa is open.
Oh, the spa, okay.
My design is predicated on 4 days. The wastewater flows were almost 8,000 gallons a day at 7,878 gallons. We are now just keeping the wastewater flow with the 11 veterans, and we're at 50 gallons a day. 704 gallons a day of water, 704 gallons a day of water used on those 4 days. And then they're basically the flow equalizing for sewage for 450 gallons a day. So it's kind of gone from almost 8,000 gallons to 450 gallons. The other two things I should mention, before they were going to disturb 4.8 acres, we're disturbing 0.84 acres, so we reduced that by 4 acres. The other design was predicated on relocating water courses. There are several DEP identified water courses on our property. We are now relocating water courses. And there was extensive purpose on the site for 3 buildings plus parking plus roadways. We're basically paving existing, adding a little bit, and putting a new building in. So I put that, if you would like, I'll put that in the chart, and I did want to be respectful of your request. Yes.
Thank you. Can you just back up to the driveways, the access? You said, just repeat that, please.
So, if you recall, the earlier plans did have a fairly new extensive road network.
Yeah, it went.
It had another entrance that
Yes,
had
yes.
80 some odd parking spots. We're now using the existing roads.
Okay.
We're not adding, we're adding a little bit of parking, but we're not adding any roads.
The road from, the driveway from the road, how wide is that?
I'll get to that, because I have a driveway entrance point out. Right now, if we're going from memory here, I think it's like 19 feet, we're going to widen to 22. But I'll get to that when I get to the entrance point, that's okay with you.
It's okay with me. What about the parking? Can we talk about that now?
I will, if I can go through the architectural first, I was going through the parking, I'm going to go through the site plan says.
Because you were talking about parking, so I was concerned about it.
I mean, I can jump to that now, but if I could, I could go through it when I was ready.
Yeah, do it the way you want to do it.
Okay. And if you have any questions, just feel free to ask. So, getting back to where I was, to answer your question, Cliff, there was an extensive road network in the park where we basically reduced that, so reduce what's there. And I'll explain why we're very limited as far as what we can do for new building, repaving, and adding a little parking when I get to that point. So we've revised the plans extensively. The one thing I really can't do is I can't do an overlay of the new project versus the old project on the plan because I don't have access to the old project.
We received that, and that's fine.
So that consultant was released.
Yes.
I'm the new consultant. There was a few other questions you had, but I wanted to answer the ones that I could on the text.
Thank you.
So, one of the questions that has come up is, what's the facility going to look like? Andrew Bornhoff of Scott Dutton's office in Kingston created some visuals. I just gave everyone 11 by 17s. You already had 8.5 by 11s of these. There's basically 10 views. And you're going to see it basically focuses on the new building, and the existing building. So if you look at the first one, basically it's you looking at the entrance. So this is the existing entrance, as proposed entrance coming off of Plank Road. You will see this is the 6-bedroom, 8-stone lodge. The existing 3-bedroom home behind it. The pool building, the ice house, the proposed spa building,
and the existing two-bedroom residence. So you have all of the existing buildings plus the one proposed, and I'll go through the number of bedrooms as we each of these current and proposed people. This is the existing base stone lodge on view 2. You're still looking at the driveway, you're in a little bit closer. The existing ice house behind it, and the proposed spa building. And that's generally looking north, just to kind of orient it. And we'll get that a little more details into my site plan set. And I'm going to try to answer your question. I'll give that point too. This is even closer, looking at existing Maidstone Lodge, currently 6 bedrooms, proposed 6 bedrooms. The ice house, currently basically a dry building, and that's also in the future. They're not proposing any sort of, at this point in time, no sort of bathrooms or plumbing in that. They're just basically cleaned up, fixed up where you have them, obviously put in or updated. And the proposed spa building, which I will cover in detail in the site plan set. Once again, this is kind of looking in a northerly direction. The next one is sheet 4 of 10. Is looking at the side of the spa building. That's maybe looking north, and the ice house is right there. And in the back, you're looking at the existing 3-bedroom residence, the remaining 3 bedrooms. This is a theoretic aerial view. You don't have a real aerial view. This is, so look at like an orthographic image that was painted. The old outbuilding that was for the pool that's no longer there, that is not going to get rebuilt. The existing 3-bedroom house, the 6-bedroom Maidstone Lodge, the ice house, the spa building, the existing 2-bedroom house, and the current road network.
What's on top of the building in the back, that round dome, is that?
Kind of looks like an observatory. It's actually a hammam spa. More or less like a steam room. I'm sorry, more like a sauna room. I apologize. I'm not an expert on spas. I don't go to spas. I'm better person to talk to you about that. As you know, I'm a really person. So, once again, existing pool outbuilding, 3-bedroom house, 2-bedroom house, 6-bedroom house, ice house, and proposed spa building, which would be 2 stories plus the dome that same view, similar. Once again, this is kind of looking a bit more east, like the last one, looking at the same buildings. We're almost done with the views. View 8, looking down at it, 3-bedroom dwelling, existing and proposed, 6-bedroom dwelling, existing and proposed, ice house, spa building. You'll see it has a deck and the dome door. Now, the one major change you'll see that you couldn't see before looking at sheet number 9 is it's the view from the other end looking in a more easterly direction, and you'll see we have 2 hot tubs. So these are 2 hot tubs instead of the 2 pools on the proposed, which previously down by Plank Road. I think the dimensions are somewhere around 8 feet by 10 feet each. It's a 5-foot deck all the way around. Code requires Part 6 on the state sanitary code for swimming pool, public pool, spa pools, and part of the 5-foot deck all the way around. So we need a limited deck to meet the code requirements. That's the main change you see on sheet 9 over the earlier changes, and it's reflected again on sheet 10. The only thing this doesn't show is the code will require a fence all the way around. Sure. Have a pool at a hotel, motel, municipality, private club without having a 4-foot no fence around it. When we get to that point, our office will be designing a part 6-1 compliant swimming pool. So that's kind of the renderings from the architect. Obviously, the project has not progressed to the point now where there's actual interior designs and everything else, but we want to reveal the existing buildings plus the proposed building.
That stone is 2 stories high? Yeah, I see, yeah. The sauna. It's right from the ground. It's 2 stories high?
Yes, the spa building is 2 stories high, that wall house.
No.
Is that plus a hammam spa, or is that just like a domed roof for the second floor?
My understanding is it would more or less be the first floor, and then either that dome extends from the first floor to the top of the dome, or from the second floor to the top.
But it's not a third floor.
It's not a third floor. And there is a deck out front. And we're very limited in how big the building can be, which I'll get to when I get to the.
And you have a height for that spa building?
It will not exceed the 35-foot code max. We've had extensive consultations with DEP. We were allowed to go vertical, obviously up until the limits of the town code. It could be less, but at this point in time, the building is not fully designed. We were not allowed to go any more horizontal than we did. I don't believe this was covered at last meeting. I apologize, I sent the quite several books, so I couldn't fill the board in on this, but I will talk about the New York City DEP 25% goal and explain what that means for the project, right, when I get to that sheet. In summary, before I get to that, I have quite a bit to cover before I get to that. We are allowed to take all the impervious on the site, driveways, rooftops, decks, the old outbuildings, and then develop another 25% beyond that. The reason we're not allowed to go more than 25% is, as I mentioned before, there's basically 4 DEP identified water courses, and all the construction is within 100 feet of the water courses, with the exception of the wastewater system, which is 100 feet. So the code will only allow us to do any additional parking or building within 25%. You can't get over it. So that's another reason the project got scaled back drastically. I believe the reason was largely before was there's a lot of plans, as I mentioned, to relocate water courses, which we're not doing. Okay, so with that said, if I go through the site plan set, and I will make sure to get upon the parking question that you asked when we get to that point. This is the existing site. Once again shows the pool remnants, old patio remnants, which there's really no remnants, but if you look at the artwork, you'll see there was basically a patio out there. The old foundation rooms, I believe there might have been a barn here at some point in time. The 3-bedroom dwelling, wood crib. There's a spring house back here. The 6-bedroom makes the lodge, the ice house, the 2-bedroom residence, the existing blacktop driveway, the existing entrance with columns down on Plank Road. To put it in perspective, this site is 132 or 133 acres. We're both basically focusing on the bottom 2 or 3 acres. Once you get beyond this, it's a very steep site. It's on the side of Mount Tremper. You're really not able to develop it other than for uses such as, walking trails and things like that, if someone desired to do that. So we're basically focusing at this lower portion all the way down here. I should also mention we showed the existing, some of the existing decks and existing walls and existing water courses and the existing sewage system locations. As I mentioned, there's a stream here, there's a stream here, there's a stream here, and then obviously once I get down here, that's a stream here too, and there's a stream here. So there's various branches of the stream all over the place. It was made a very daunting task to work with DEP to try to keep everything within the required setbacks. So that's the existing conditions. In the proposed conditions, which if you need another copy, I have more copies. If you've got everything, that's fine. Okay, so what we've added on here is we've added the parking, which I'll go through in a minute. We've shown the new spa building with the 2 hot tubs and the deck off to the northwestern side. We're showing the 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and 6-bedroom residences that are being maintained, as well as the existing outbuildings. We've shown the new sewage system, the new sewage reserve area, and we've shown basically the blacktop driveways, existing parking, and proposed parking. We've also included all the whole zoning compliance table. The next sheet, which I will get to in a minute, does cover the parking analysis to answer questions on that. A couple things I should mention before I get to sheet 3. The sewage and sewage reserve area, we can't get it approved by the DEP and DOH until we get conditional approval from the planning board. But what we have done is we've had them up the deep test holes, percolation tests, and they've reviewed the design preliminarily. So basically, we've got the design to the approval phase without getting approved because they have to follow you. So the sewage system is designed. It's a septic tank, it's a gravity sewer, septic tank, pump station, which has low equalization to spread the flow over 7 days, a force main, an absorption system, and 100% reserve area. All those elements meet the setbacks from the existing stream. All those elements meet the required property line setbacks from the slopes, etc. We've also put in a proposed well. The site is currently served by a spring. A spring does not work for a public water supply. The water supply will be regulated by Part 5 of the New York State Sanitary Code public water systems. So just like any other motel, restaurant, apartment building, this is going to be a small public water supply, although it's very small, it's still regulated. It can't be served by a spring, otherwise we have to filter. So we'll be doing a well, this is a site we designated, and I had discussions with both apartment and DEP about it, even though it's regulated by the health department, talks about the babies and stuff.
The runoff from the spring house is going to remain in the same location, no change?
The runoff is going to go, we're not interrupting existing drainage swales or work with streets. A couple of things I should mention. During the earlier meeting, some questions came up regarding what about repaving everything, because we had showed some gravel, some pavement. We have since had consultations with New York State DEP. They will allow us to repave everything that's existing. The asphalt there is in various states. There's some of that's okay. There's some that's been washed away. There's some that you have to kind of go through the rubble with the line of blacktop up there before. But the DEP has been very gracious in allowing us to basically repave what was there. One reason the site's not that stable as far as roadways right now is it needs some culvert work. The driveway hasn't been maintained since the last owners, had that yet. And we're proposing to repave what was there. Unfortunately, we're not able to do 2 lanes coming to the site because the DEP 25% rule, because we've given 100 streams. So when we propose to go, I'll get into it a little more detail later, is pull-offs for both regular vehicular access and emergency access. So we have someone's coming down the driveway, someone's coming up the driveway, someone's got the ability to pull off coming up, someone's got the ability to pull off coming down.
You're going to talk more about that whole entrance area?
Yeah, I will. But it was the only, if we were to make it a 2-lane road going up the site, there would be no proposed spot. So basically, the point of the project, if you look at the statement I read just from San Moya, is that we're proposing a spa building. We can only do the spa building based upon utilizing the 25% rule of watershed rules regulations. Unfortunately, we can't do the spa building and the driveway, but we believe we came up with a way to be respectful of the board's request and be able to accommodate everyone. Okay, so
How long is the driveway?
how
Long is it?
I don't have the exact number, but it's a 40 feet to an inch, so you're probably looking at about 400 feet up to the building, and probably another 150 going this way, 200 going this way. It's not that long. It's a pretty direct route. I could respond to that in an email later, by either measuring it with that or using a scale. And I apologize, I didn't bring a scale tonight. I was thinking about that, the driveway.
Alan, do you have an idea what the line of sight is when you're down on 2?
That's a really good question. We have met with the county highway department, since it's a county road. The sighting distances are adequate. They're not requiring us to do anything. However, we have suggested to widen the entrance a little bit. We can only really widen it going this way. And I'll get to that one after the entrance way, but we're going to widen it so it's got, right now it's basically like a lane and a half. We're going to make it 2 lanes. So at least when someone pulls up, you can see both ways. Because there is, it's a straight shot, there's a little bit of a dip going down towards Mount Tremper. It would be much improved if we made it 2 full lanes as opposed to a lane and a half, where you have people bunching out on Pine
Well,
Road.
and yeah, in case you have someone pulling in and someone pulling out.
Adam Deeks from DPW, also DPW, has been working on this site. So we made, so in addition to talking to DOH extensively, DEP extensively, we've been talking to county extensively. As I read through the beginning, the project was scaled back drastically, and we only got to this point by basically making sure we've talked to everyone to get to the point that the agencies are willing to say, you can or can't do this. And we've been very open, and it's been a very collaborative process, on which I really did both Chris and Grace as well. And I can speak more to that. So I'll get into the details a bit more on sheet 3, and I apologize for trying to get the parking question. I think I generally covered most things on this page. And we'll start to talk about the parking in just a little more detail on the next page. We ended up with 22 spots. So we have 4 spots up here, including 1 accessible spot. We have 2 spots over here, existing. A little bit of this is existing. We are doing grass paver parking over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. We've got 7 spots here, another 4 spots there. We made sure to size the spots in the town required 9 feet by 20 feet. We made sure that the aisles, as far as backing up and turning around, we have the town code requirement.
Handicap up by the buildings?
Handicap one right here, the wheelchair. And what will happen basically is the striped area is right next to it, and although we haven't gotten this level of design yet, this will be a depressed curve right here, so that basically one can basically, whether, if someone's mobility impaired, whether it's a wheelchair or a walker or crutches, they'll basically come right up here and then walk right up here. We've kind of laid out the spa building such that, you would get into either here or through there, but to make sure you get from the accessible parking spot. I didn't mention that in addition, there's an existing concrete deck here, which we're going to reuse as part of the new building. You've been up the site, it's a 40-foot by 15-foot concrete deck, nice stone foundation. Was obviously some sort of mechanical before. We're going to be repurposing that. In addition to repurposing the building site, I didn't mention this before, I apologize. Regarding the parking analysis, we're required to have 1 space per guest room. So if you look at this, I'm on page 3 now, just so everyone can follow along. We're required to have 1 space per guest room. There's 11 guest rooms. We're going to have 11 spaces. As far as the spa, we're doing 1 space for 3 guests. I have talked extensively with the owner. There will be no more than a maximum of 12 concurrent guests using the spa. So typically the spa is going to be used by guests of the B&B, but if someone's going to be outside, they would be driving separately in addition to the guest rooms. There'd be no more than 12. We assume that they use 3 people per vehicle. It's analogous to what you would have in the restaurant parking regulations. We kind of use that as an analogy. So that added another 4 spaces. So now we're up to 15. The food service, we use the ratio of 1 space per 3 seats. 14 seats we needed between 4 and 5 spaces. We made it 5. So now we're up to 20 spots. And then there will be 2 employees, which Sam also mentioned in his letter, and there will be 1 space for employees, that will be 2 spaces. I jotted down a few notes on the bottom left of the plans and the center bottom of the plans, as far as it's 7 days a week for the inn. The spa is 4 days per week, maximum 12 concurrent spa guests. Summarize the overall parking. We are required to have 1 accessible spot per 25 spaces. Since there's 22, that's how we came up with the 1 up here. We figured it was best to locate it near the new spa building. Okay. I also summarized employees, seats, and rooms here. And once again, to go through it, 3 bedrooms existing, which you can read a little bit better down here. It's going to be existing and proposed. 6 bedroom here, existing and proposed. 2 bedrooms and the ice house basically stays dry, a little bit of an oxymoron there.
Well, that's gonna be used for storage.
I think they want to be able to use it for like basically just guests to get together. You know, someone wants to play cards or sit in their chair and read a book. It's just basically, it's a small indoor space. It's a really, if you've never been, it's a really issue building. It's a two-story, turns essentially ice house. Still has like the 4 walls and like the tin of the floor. And each work, but it's all stuff.
So it's gonna have assembly in it. So it can have assembly in it.
Yes, but not like an event. It would just basically be as simple as a small hangout area.
You know the dimensions offhand, Ellen? The dimensions of the ice house-ish?
I do not have the dimensions, but it's pretty much about 20 by 20, about 200 square feet.
Okay.
So the spa is open to the public?
So, I kind of went through that quickly, and I'll go through that again.
So maybe.
The spa is primarily part of the inn. However, if the inn guests aren't using it, and the inn's not full, they will let the public come in to use the spa.
And the
So
restaurant is open to the public?
Same thing. It's basically first priority to guests, and these, you know, if it's, let's just say it's a Friday, the place is half full as far as rooms, somebody wants to book a spa appointment, they're not staying there, there's capacity, you can book a spa appointment. Same thing goes with the food service. A small little cafe, for things like sandwiches and salads. If it's not being used by the spa guests, you can make a reservation. So they wanted to make sure that they're respectful of people that may not want to come up and spend the night. They didn't want to take away from people, so they might place over run one basically day guests.
So how did you come up with 2 workers for a spa, a restaurant, a hotel?
That was from the owner. Basically, it's not one person working in the spa.
And what about the restaurant?
It's one small cafe basically doing sandwiches and things
So
like that.
there's one person there?
If they have a larger group.
I don't mean to be picky, but there's one person there in the spa, one person in the restaurant, one person checking people in. Is there anybody outside to maintain the grounds at the same time? Take the garbage out?
Clean the
I
rooms.
see a lot more than 2.
Understood. I think Sam tried to respond to that, and once again, you didn't get this because this was given to me the other day, and I read off the statement Sam was making as he was driving. But the grounds would be someone from the outside. Grounds maintenance company would basically maintain the grounds and taking care of the garbage.
But they need a car also, right?
Yes, they would need a vehicle as well.
Right, so they would have to pull in when you have, so the outside grounds person would have a car, the spa person would have a car, the restaurant person would have a car, the hotel person would have a car. So I see a lot more than 2 spaces.
I can get a bit more information from the owner as far as program regarding exactly how he plans to operate. Based upon my inquiry, he's planning on basically two staff. The check-in, a lot of it is supposed to be self-check-in.
Yeah, that's what they said last time.
So that would take care of the person basically working with the desk. The cafe, my understanding is it's really more things like sandwiches and salads. It's not like a full restaurant. So I more or less see it as a person working a spa and a person more or less as a floater. I could try to get more information for you for the next meeting regarding the program.
That doesn't seem workable, to check in when you have a maze of buildings, and how are people going to find their room?
Well, once again, we haven't gotten to that point in the design yet, but there are obviously there's individual signs around the property as far as which is this building, which is the spa building, directions to the, area of the hot tub, what have you.
I just think that you're underestimating the number of workers that have to be there.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is a lot more than 2 workers. And do you have any private buildings there besides the guest buildings? Are there any bedrooms?
No, the employees would not be living on site. If employees would live on site, it's an option, but they would reduce the number of guest rooms. The facility only has 11 bedrooms. We're not proposing more than 11 bedrooms. The site will not support more than 11 bedrooms. Both from a setback perspective, we can't do new housing due to setbacks as far as workhorses, and as far as water and wastewater. We've scaled it back, so basically what is shown is what will fit on the site.
So from my personal standpoint, I don't know how other people feel. So I think that's a problem, the parking, and I see a 500-foot driveway. I have a 500-foot driveway. And if I have 6 people coming to my house, or 10 guests, I have to hire somebody to take care of getting up and down the driveway. Because it's a horror show in the winter to have someone coming halfway down the driveway and someone coming halfway up the driveway. So whenever I have a party or I invite a lot of guests, I have to hire 2 drivers. One to stay down on the road to make sure that nobody pulls up when someone's coming down, and one to drive my guests up and down the driveway.
I don't have that problem.
Well, you don't have that many guests, John.
You live on Silver Hollow Road, John.
Basically, just to kind of put it in perspective, and it's my recreational project responsibility towards the future. The plan is not to have events with a lot of people coming outside. The goal would be he would rent the facility out to a group. That group would be using a spa, that group would be served food. Some of the food would probably be catered from off-site. If he was to basically not have a cafe open, instead of a larger meal, he would basically facilitate guests or pre-arranged with people being basically, taken to the site.
I'm just saying, I don't see how this takes care of everything that's gonna happen in that site.
Do you have any wiggle room at all on that 25%? You're right up against the stops.
Maybe now would be a good time for me to kind of jump in there. So, and I'll come back to sheets 4 or 5. If you look at, and I should also mention I mentioned before that the site's got 0.4 acres of disturbance. Everything we're showing here is the 0.84 acres of disturbance, including utilities, driveway pull-offs, varying electric, installing water, installing sewer, expanding parking, what have you. If I go to the site impervious plan, which was a sheet 1 of 1. Okay, here it was. I'm sorry. Okay, the way the DP 25% rule works is we cannot expand impervious because they don't have to be street. We are allowed to basically take the gross of the site's impervious, calculate 25% of it, and then expand the impervious by that 25%. So I can't double the impervious, I can't expand by 50%, I can only expand by 25%. So what we did in consultation with DEP was we added up existing blacktop driveway, 2-bedroom residence, 6-bedroom residence, 3-bedroom residence, the wood grid, the spring house, foundations, existing deck, pool building. We added everything up. We came up with 23,956 square feet. That is the total site impervious. I know I'm going through a lot of numbers, but there's close to 24,000 square feet of impervious. We can only add 6,000 square feet on that. So what we did was we added some impervious parking over the existing. As you see, this parking area got expanded over here. We added some more parking over here. We added a spa building, which is about the 2,245 square feet plus a 298 square foot deck. So we only put in about a 2,500 square foot spa building with deck. That was basically all we could fit on the site. We can't go more than that. We have a couple of retaining walls because we're going to basically be building out for some of this parking, cutting out some of this parking, having small like retaining walls, or for smaller, especially might be doing vegetative paving baskets. We had to consider those items in purpose. We had those in here on this on this chart here. We also, the accessible parking and the accessible walkways would be impervious because you can't really do access via a wheelchair or a walker on wood chip or other items like that, so we had to use like that for surfaces. So that's included down here. So we basically added in additional pavement for parking for a 6-bedroom house, additional pavement for parking for a 3-bedroom house. That was almost 2,000 square feet. Additional pavement at the entrance, which is we're widening the entrance, which I'll get to in a minute. The spa and deck expansion, which is 2,500 square feet, and the walkway is 18 walls. So that's how we came up with 2,500 square feet. We made sure we stayed within the regulations. We went through all that with DEP to make sure that we were complying with the regulations. So unfortunately, to answer your question, there's really no wiggle room on 25%.
And we're at a single lane on that entrance now, or a lane and a half?
So the entrance is
Existing.
entrances currently.
I'm sorry, I'm talking about the whole 240 or 400 feet or whatever.
Okay, entrance is 2 lanes, it then goes down. Entrance is now 1.5 lanes, goes down to 1 lane. Entrance will be 2 lanes, going down to 1 lane.
So it's just a single,
But
it's
there'll
fully
be
a single.
pull-offs, we will pull up here and here.
On both sides?
Both sides. The problem was when we made this 2 lanes the whole way, there's no spot.
Can I ask you something on this map? Is this, that's the first page? It's the first
I'll flip
page.
back that way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can use the one with the shading if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, we can use this one. So is this Mountain Laurel Road here? This curve?
Yes.
Okay. And you see it's a level stretch from Mountain Laurel Road all the way to the complex?
Yes.
And this existing driveway is very steep and also a water course when it rains.
Which is why we are doing some, there is a drainage culvert over here, which is not shown, we hope some place like that, that is blown out. So what happens is when unfortunately what happens, and I covered this with the entrance plan, when the second hits the water, you've got a culvert that is partially collapsed and gone, the water basically flows out down the road, and then goes out the road. What we propose to, if I can kind of jump ahead to another sheet that might be helpful on that, if I go to sheet 101, which is the entrance plan, there's a blow up right here. You'll see this area over here between the dark line on the right and this middle line. That's the existing entrance. We're going to move this column and make this a full 22 feet.
But I had, for the previous engineer, I had suggested putting the main entrance right there on Mountain Laurel Road, cutting across, and then, removing this driveway. And that, if you take away that driveway completely, then that doesn't count for impervious, and maybe they would allow extending the road here. You see what I'm saying?
They don't own over Mountain Laurel Road.
They don't own the property all the way over there?
Right, so the way,
Okay.
and yeah, if you look right here, well, they actually do, but I'm sorry, correct myself. They own all the way to the corner here.
That's what I'm talking about.
But we would also cross the street.
There's a steep,
And then we have the
gully
sewage,
there.
we use the sewage area, this is the reserve area. This is coming straight across here. Because right now they've got sewage existing, sewage reserve proposed, sewage proposed, and other wastewater infrastructure.
yeah, bring you over an acre too.
It gets really difficult, and then the other problem is if you put a road across here, it's gonna basically eat into that 25%, which would then eliminate the spots, which is the project sponsors always need to go to the project.
It looks like it might be somewhat equivalent to what's already there on the driveway part. And if that is removed from the count, and you add that, it doesn't seem like it'd be that. You're not allowed to remove a road? I think the previous engineer was trying to do that.
The previous engineer was also trying to relocate a bunch of streams too. So, I'm not saying it's equivalent, it's just there was, the prior project was extremely grandiose, it was very, I shouldn't use the word aggressive in nature, but it was very,
It was a lot.
a lot. was gonna say three remediation, but I think it was a fairly large scope that required a lot of permitting, a very large financial investment, and a lot of permitting remained on these. So what we have done is we've tried to work backwards from what was proposed to come up with something that is workable and does this on the site. So although we respect the idea for not just putting the road in here, but also potentially eliminating the existing road, it's, you know, I had approached on another aspect of the project, what about swamp? And it was not received that, well, it wouldn't do all the regulations.
Well, I don't understand what the objection would be to doing that.
The issue is creating impervious in a 100 feet stream. I don't have to.
But if you remove one of them, doesn't that go back to pervious again?
No,
No?
they can only expand by the 25%. They can't, based on what's there, they can't cut it. It doesn't go away.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Then we're also working within it, we're also working.
It's more
within
disturbance
the-
too.
We're only allowed to have up to an acre disturbance without requiring a SWIP, and this site is not large enough to absorb a full-blown SWIP. So we have that working against us as well. So although it's a huge site, it's 130 plus acres, the buildable portion is only a few acres. And we have tried to basically address setbacks for buildings, setbacks for water, setbacks for wastewater, setbacks for impervious. What we would left was basically close to 6,000 square foot of impervious that we can add, which was going to take care of additional parking as required by code. With the understanding of all up more with Alan's question there, and it allows us to do new spot.
I know our code doesn't allow for overlap of use, meaning you have to calculate parking separately for each use.
Right.
Though I'm aware that in practice, there often is, like there'll likely often only be 11 or 12 parking spaces in use out of all of these. So I'm less concerned about that aspect of it, but I am concerned about the entrance. It's steep, and if someone, as Alan said, is sliding down that or gets kind of stuck in there sideways and everyone's like locked in there, or out of there for emergency ingress or.
Well, I actually do have something that shows the grades that well, which was just a backup notes. Let me finish on the entrance first.
Okay.
So on the entrance, as I was saying before, we're going to widen it to level 8. We're going to move the wall and the pillar on this side. We're also going to install a trench drain across the driveway. So basically it's great, so that if there is extensive rainwater coming down the hill, it hits the trench drain, it's discharged on the roadside as well. As opposed to right now, it basically goes out on the street. So we made that change as well. If I go to the last one, which you don't have, this is just something we developed today, in response to questions on driveway slopes. In general, the slope coming up the driveway starts at about 7.5%, goes to a maximum of about 12.5%. And then hits a spot up here where it's about 14% and drops down to about 11.5%. Going over this way, it's relatively level to the 4%, and it's shy of 10% over here. So we're keeping everything below 15%. Once again, we really don't have room, currently it's 3 houses. We really don't have room to regrade, expand the existing driveway beyond what's there, that's just the business spot. Because of the fact that we've got, as I mentioned, we have the water course that starts here, goes down through the property, the water course that starts here, goes down through the property, the water course here that joins that water course, this water course, and the water course here. The 25% of the DEP as their regulations, it's a good thing because it allows you to do a little bit of expansion, but unfortunately, it's not necessarily respectful of sometimes what's needed for roadways or parking. So we're trying to work with an existing road network, we're trying to work within the utilizing existing buildings.
Was that old patio And the old, I know the old pool is pretty much gone. Lower left, what up that old patio, is that, okay.
We just, what we did is with little ortho imagery, if you go into the New York State GIS website, and so it's kind of parcel viewer, there's a time slider function, and you kind of go back to the ortho imagery, and you will find, like, if you go far enough back, you'll see the house that used to be up top, that's Bob. So there was actually a house that Bob was going, and it shows up on a whole ortho imagery, not current ortho imagery. But we did locate this over here, and that's why we wrote down here, this was the former building site, the dotted line, and this was the old pad. There's a building that's there now, it's basically stacked bluestone, and it's concrete slabs.
Okay.
So,
And we really don't have, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
no, go ahead.
Over here, we really didn't have the ability to rebuild a pool and then not do the spa. And then do the spa. So it was basically, the trade-off was basically, the pool had been taken out, I believe a tree had fallen on the electric lines. It basically damaged the pool, they took out the tree, they took out the pool, they left it like that. DEP really wouldn't let us rebuild here, so we made it, as shown on sheet 2, that small spa pool area around the object actually is spa pool. When I say spa pool, I want hot tub. I should also mention, in addition to trying to work within all of the town regulations, the DEP regulations as far as stormwater, the DOH regulations as far as wastewater, the DEP regulations as far as wastewater, the facility will also be regulated by the county health department, it's part 14-1 service establishment, and this is the service approved for the public with handicap. And because it exceeds 10 people, it's going to be a temporary residence, so it's part 7, and it's sanitary road. And as I mentioned before, it's part 5, water supply, and we'll be regulated by substantial. So there's also a very large number of state sanitary regulations that we will be following in addition to the annual operating agreements from the health department. After it goes through all the other issues.
I have a question. You have 11 rooms, a sauna, an eating facility, and pools, correct?
2 hot tubs.
2 hot tubs,
No pool.
no pool. Is it in-house laundry facility?
Laundry would typically be shipped out. There wouldn't be, if I was, the problem we run into is, if I go back to the site plan set,
I mean, it's a
I
lot
have
of
sewage,
hours.
I have sewage and sewage reserve area, I don't have capacity for a washing machine, no. Because when you use a commercial washing machine,
Yeah.
the code requires, I'm going from memory here, it's 500 gallons per machine, for a laundry. Although this may not be as large as that, it would still be several hundred gallons. We don't have enough space to do laundry for the facility site. So basically, linens and towels, in the inn, and any sort of towels from the spa, that would be done by the outside water sources. It can't be done, that's a very good question.
And is this going to be done, what hours or days of the week? Is this a only 4-day-a-week operation?
4 days a week, so the inn is 7 days a week, the spa cafe is 4 days a week. I don't recall what the exact hours that he was proposing to.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because those trucks will have to come in and out with the personnel, not only to drive the trucks back and forth, but to do the preparation of the rooms in between guests.
Right.
And that's still a lot of people coming in and out.
If you go to the parking table on sheet 3 of 5, and I didn't mention sheet
I
4
assume
of
they
5,
do
sheet
that
5 of 5,
midweek when the
different details.
other uses are closed,
But they have to.
because they won't have the cafe or the,
Change the beds.
When we did the parking chart here, and Cliff had mentioned this, not all the spots are going to be used concurrently. Our hope was that we have it turn around the front, for basically, the room services dropping off, picking up. Although we do have a garbage area over here for receptacles, basically the plan is, there's another garbage area shown back here that basically is night before pickup. It's like basically rolling, there's another storage area here. So the garbage truck would not be coming up, the garbage would be taken down to here, so there'll be receptacles up here for day-to-day, receptacle down here for basically 1 day a week pickup. We felt, given the fact that there was quite a bit of parking here, and there was no code requirement for loading berths, it was our assumption that Since it's a spa and the inn, through the hours of the spa and the food service, we're not exactly confirmed if there would be additional spots that can be used for deliveries. Or lawn service, as was mentioned before.
They'll turn the beds over, but that'll be like spare rooms. They won't bring laundry service and, you know, they won't bring a truck full of
That's today, Jim. Yes, that's today. We got those today. Well, he's here. I'm sure he'll go. Well, I'm telling you, he's here. So, Mr. Robbins
Chris
is
is
here
behind them.
to address those comments. We just haven't gotten. You can come sit.
Yeah, after Ellen's finished.
Yes, John.
Yes, John.
Just settle in, John. Do you want a glass of water? I'll get you a glass of water.
Alan, is the dumpsters gonna be down at the bottom then?
There are going to be refuse containers, it wouldn't be, probably more or less the small containers. They're going to be located up here, and they're going to go up down here for pickup. There was one concern raised as far as garbage, basically near the road and was also, so we work with the owner to say, you will have garbage and stuff up here, bring it down the day for pickup. Many homes and businesses.
Thank you.
I didn't go through it. I know I went part one. I'm trying to answer questions, but there's also a, in the package we submitted, there's a DEP small SWIP. The project is not required to have a SWIP by DEC regulations, but because we're utilizing the DEP 25% rule, they do require a small SWIP. So we've shown some elements in here such as rain gardens, fish filtered, grass areas, the shade baskets, and some photos of papers. So we try to do, TNT is required of those, although not required by REC regulations, there are requirements because we had additional purposes. So there is a small SWIP plan in here, which, I won't bore you with detail, but that's covered on sheet 1. And we've already started revising this in response to comments from the DEP. You haven't seen the latest version yet, but it's very similar. We had a bit more detail on the rain gardens and details and calculations on the rain gardens, dewatering elements, silt fence, etc. So the total package, I'm not speaking about the architectural drawings, our 5-page site plan set, the 2-page small SWIP, the entrance plan, and impervious.
Gravel is considered impervious?
This is a really good question. This is where it kind of gets tricky. DEC considers gravel impervious. DEP considers it impervious.
The city and the state disagree? Couldn't be.
So who wins?
So all the parking areas cannot be gravel, and then
The problem with doing parking gravel was we had, well, this one's not big. This one's actually grass pavers. This one's right there. The problem over here was this outline here in white, that's already paved. So we're just expanding, and we had toyed with the idea of removing some pavement, and then making the driveway paved and spots gravel. And we actually, in response to previous question, that's actually, I think, where we got to discuss this with DEP about swapping out, and that was when we were told, you can't do that. So basically, we're expanding this new paving by these areas over here in color for parking over here because this spot and the crosshatched area are accessible and has to either be pavement or before, which would be
That's also handy.
pavement right before, but if you impacted, it's like pressure. That tends to be considered impervious to confuse people. And this is existing gravel parking. We were maintaining this gravel parking as over here. One of the concerns, one of the comments we had gotten back during the last meeting was that the town planning board wanted to see more of the site repaved, which is why we then approached DEP regarding repaving area. If you recall, the earlier damaged pavement and like heavy gravel, we've now checked an action pavement. And DEP has worked with us on that. Is there anything else I can answer on the site?
How effective is a trench drain when it's below freezing? Like, doesn't it, I mean, I live on Plank Road, just down the road, and
It's an open grate.
it's an open grate, but doesn't, I mean, when there's ice and snow, isn't it pretty much blocked?
No, I mean, you'll see these in some cases, parking lots, there's a couple in Woodstock, also, there's a road going down. It's basically going to be, it's not going to be really narrow, like 2 or 3 foot, I was like, talking about like a good 6 to 8 inches of grade. That would be each one grade. That would basically be over top of the drainage pipe. So basically, it's a great outlet pipe. It's a great open pipe. So, unless you have a situation where snow and ice is packed into it, that swell does pretty much flow normal.
I think that every time we have snow and ice, if it's gonna get packed into it. That's just the way it
My
is.
experience with business site like this is water is usually running on the site. You have a lot of springs on the site, hence all the workers.
Well, I mean, I live on Plank Road and I have a similar driveway. My driveway is gravel, but it's compacted. When we have a above average rainstorm, my driveway washes out. Just from the rain and the water courses, because I have one through my property as well. There's no place for the water to go when it gets beyond a certain point, except down the driveway and into the road. And my driveway washes into the road, basically. And this is something that is very difficult to avoid. And I don't think that the grade would be fine in dry weather and a little bit of rain, sure, but we're not talking about nice conditions, we're talking about potentially hazardous conditions where the road may be impassable already due to ice and snow, and then there's no alternate entrance and exit for emergency vehicles.
Well, what we try to do, being responsive to preliminary DEP comments, discussed by the DEP, and this is earlier planning board comments, is we try to put as many elements as we can to limit the amount of stormwater coming off the site. So I really didn't get to the small SWIP plan, but with that said, I understand trench drainage is perfect. But there's nothing there right now. And the area that you're responsible to the comment that came up on the plan. So, that was the reason we added a trench drain right across the drainage pipe. So it would take the water directly to the existing swale. The other thing is, the existing pavement was damaged. We were originally going to repave it here. We're now repaving everything, so we're not going to have to worry as much about gravel getting washed off the site like it currently does. We're proposing to basically redo the pipe that basically blows out right here. We're doing that. We're doing some flow dissipators for the pull-offs. We're doing flow diffusers for this existing parking up here. We're doing rain gardens up here. We're adding vegetative baskets all on the way to basically slow down, disperse the flow to try to limit what's currently going off the site to what will be going on the site. All the roof drains from the new building are going to these rain gardens, which are going to existing water courses. So we're trying to work with what we have and use practices that are available to us to improve things. I understand what you're saying about the trench drain, but we try to come up with a whole series of elements to be responsive to existing pavement condition, normal access, emergency access, gravel washouts, items such as that.
Is that being run as an existing hotel now?
Right now, it's an existing site with 3 houses. So the goal is to basically take 11 bedrooms, but it'll be 11 bedrooms in the future, and add this.
Was it ever run as a hotel?
I know at one point it was Airbnb, was my understanding. I don't know enough about the history. I mean, I remember the site from about 50 years ago as a child, and I've always driven by it. Of course, I'm a lot older than 50, but I remember that time, but I've been around the area, since I was born here in the 60s. But I kind of always remember it being, I don't remember it ever being occupied as in a hotel. So the big change would be going from basically an 11-bedroom greenhouse family compound to an 11-bedroom B&B with a spa and cafe component. As opposed to the 24-room hotel, 98-seat restaurant, two-pool complex like proposed before. I hope that answers your question.
It certainly did.
And I don't know if anyone else has any recollections of being in here.
No. There's apartments when I remember.
I can go back to my memories as a child.
I've been up there during election time. It was always families.
Yeah, I've been up there when Robert Simon owned it, and it's a private house.
Yeah.
I do know Robert Simon. It's easy, because now Laurel was on this time, subdivision.
That was a subdivision.
Yeah.
But Robert Simon lived in the house.
And Robert Simon there behind the subdivision.
Correct.
That much I remember Robert Simon.
Okay, I think we
All right.
can move on to.
I think you've exhausted us.
Yeah,
Yes,
well,
we're exhausted.
get ready to get more exhausted. This is Chris, he's our representative from SLR who will be aiding us in our review of the project. Alan, Art, Joanne, Cliff, Vivian, and John.
As Cliff said, Chris Robbins, SLR. Nice to meet all of you. Thanks for having me here. We've been brought in to assist the planning board in the environmental and site plan review of the project. As part of that effort, you received today our first comment letter. We reviewed all of the documents that Alan has submitted on behalf of the applicant has been submitted. Those are all listed here at the introduction of the memo. As part of our review, the previous environmental review that was completed by the planning board, there was some supplemental studies that were done. We reviewed those as well, because those are going to be used in support of this application. And I don't know if you all were on board at the time, but previously the environmental review ended. You completed the process. Most of the hemp was issued for planning review agency, distributed the required information, public hearing was held. After review, the planning board issued a negative declaration with a condition. The condition had to do with the county DPW and potential issues with regard to drainage up front on the roadway. That negative declaration, what it did was indicated that the planning board, after review of the project previously, with the revisions that were made by the applicant at the time, would not result in significant impacts that were not avoided or mitigated, right? So no impacts that would be raised to a level that would require further environmental review and environmental impact statement. Yes, so that's a bit of the history. That's all we have in there as well. To give you a sense of what happened previously, what the previous project was, described, the input that was provided by the applicant this time, so the development program passed. As Alan mentioned, the development program is significantly less, right? So you got through this process as a neg deck last time. This proposal significantly reduces the amount of rooms, the amount of parking, the amount of purpose service, the amount of disturbance. There are no relocating of workforces under the jurisdiction of the which I don't know would have been permitted. So as part of that review, in your packet, you've gone through each one of those documents, and I can run through this in as much detail as you like, but you know, the comments sort of are organized by section or by document that was provided. First being the application addendum. In this section, and this is probably one of the two key pieces of the conversation for you all tonight. The applicant submitted the information that was required by the planning board to provide all of the site plan or their plans, the plans for the site plan, they included a short form environmental assessment form along with some backup information. For the planning board, next step, we, based on our review of this or review of the previous documentation, we are recommending that the planning board restart the secret process, right? We went through it, we finished a different project, significantly reduced the project here, keep things clean. You could sort of continue on with that and you know, make an addendum to the previous conditions, negative declaration. We feel it's cleaner to go through this process from the start. So start season all over. That requires the planning board again to notice that your intent is to be a lead agency under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. Right? Part of secret is that the planning board has to be, somebody has to take responsibility for review of the document. You would be a lead agency as you were in the past. That process requires you to make a motion to assume the lead agency role for seeker. You can vote on that, and that is sort of the process by which you want to go through the environmental review this time. You can do that tonight. Subsequent to that, all of the information that was provided as part of the site plan and the short form environmental assessment form, that would then be, along with your notice, distributed to the list of interested and involved agencies. Interested and involved agencies are those that are involved, those that are required to provide some sort of discretionary approval, permit, DEP, Department of Health, the DPW, and interested agencies are those that would have a potential interest in the project moving forward. That would be, for example, in this case, we believe there's no disturbance to any of the regulated surface waters out there that could be an Army Corps of Engineers or potentially DEC. DEC maybe not, because there's likely protected species out there. But, and that's also something that the applicant would have to respond to.
To start at the beginning, these 15 pages of comments are related to the absolute latest proposals from the board.
Correct. With one exception. We do provide some comments on the studies that were previously submitted in support of the last application, because those are relevant to this application.
The site is the site.
The site's the site, the development program is different, but the studies that were conducted previously can be carried forward, they just need to be updated. So we've included that information, what we feel the applicant needs to provide. For example, the wetland delineation was done several years ago. We'll go out and take a look at the project site, make sure that delineation still looks okay. The coordination with for traffic, right? The traffic assessment that was done. Some of that data that was collected is considered a bit old, so we indicated to the applicant that they should provide some updated information with regard to traffic to make sure that this project, and we don't expect that to be an issue, but to make sure this project doesn't result in
And you are Chris Robbins who signed it.
I am Chris Robbins. Yes, sir. That's it. So right, going through this, we reviewed each one of the pieces. There's a special permit and site plan application. Special permit, we don't have issues with. The site plan review application, the checklist that's involved, that the applicant has to submit. There's some boxes that haven't been checked. We're assuming that those will be done in the subsequent submission, along with the required information that needs to be provided to support those requirements. And those are planned. We've got a few comments on short environmental assessment form. They're not significant, but there's additional information that we feel is required to be submitted to the planning board to help you sort of better understand what this project is. Some of it has to do with the questions you've asked today. Plan status, stormwater. There's a series of comments that our engineers who review the site plan have put together. Those will, fall in Alan's wheelhouse to review. He'll go through his comments, review with present, and provide a response, whether or not these changes, or, gives an explanation as to how they came up with something that we question, and then we'll review that next time. We took a look at the conditions at DAC, as I mentioned earlier. The only condition would have to do with the fact that there was an outstanding issue with the DPW. That we've asked if there's information associated with that, provide it. We don't know that will still be an issue based on the designs that are coming forward now, but that should be part of our conversation. As I mentioned, a lot of the management report, I don't expect that there's much different, but conditions can change, so we just want to make sure for on your behalf that there's nothing that's out there that's different than what was previously there. There's a timber rattlesnake habitat study and mitigation plan associated with the previous application. That's going to apply here. They assumed that there would be rattlesnake use of the project site. I think the other mitigation plan would offset that. We expect that it will be the same. We just indicated that the applicant should reconfirm with the DEC that we don't have any new information that might sort of change what they've done, and then confirm the mitigation plan says the DEC's regional biologist. Our traffic assessment, as I mentioned, is some data that's old. We've asked for that that's updated. If they didn't do crash data, if they didn't, some of the data was collected in COVID, so maybe there's a slight difference in sort of what would have been under normal circumstances, the trips on the projects. We asked a little bit more about them to provide some additional information for generation of the project site. I think some of that comes to how many employees are on the site, right? You all have raised that issue. More employees are going, more trips coming in and out. Again, don't see any of this as being a significant issue, but we'll need additional information for you all to understand what it is that they're asking for, and for us, I don't think it's what we need to make this. Site lighting is no big deal. The next piece that is sort of important for this discussion tonight, at least in our part, the proposed inn and spa and cafe. Your zoning code has no definition of an inn or a spa. So, and that's not necessarily an issue. The code does include definitions for hotel, motel, and cottages. Okay, we'd like to figure out where this is. Which one of those uses that is included use in the residential district here, that are 1.5. We want to understand which of those uses is most applicable to what we're proposing, and then we'd like to use that as sort of the basis for, required setbacks and what the amenities are that we're proposing, how those fit into those. So that's the first step. We've got to provide some additional information about who's renting these. Is there doors to each room that exits to the outside? There's a main entrance, and you go into the rooms from doors inside. That all is going to depend. That's all going to allow us to make a decision as to what it is, and you will make a decision as to which of the definitions of those uses fits the inn. Once that's done, the ancillary uses, spa and cafe. Cafe, regardless of whether or not it's a use for guests or if it's a use for folks who are coming in to eat at the cafe, special permit will take care of an approval for that. The spas are different cases. If it's part and parcel of the hotel or motel or the cottage use, then special permit gets through the process. If, as they indicated, if there is the ability to have folks come in that aren't guests at the inn, then that use is not permitted. So there's no special permit. It's not part of the code that as a use is permitted as part of the main use, the hotel cottage. So if that's the case, then a further conversation has to be had about how to go through either the process of getting, either the zoning amendment or variances. Once we get additional information from the applicant and be able to sort of parse through this, we talk to you about what it is that we think makes the most sense as far as code goes, and what those definitions mean, and how this fits into it.
Can I
Are
stop
you
you
saying
there?
that our code has no definition of a spa?
That is correct. Or an inn.
So can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
So can we get that straightened out now so we know where we're going? How do we straighten that out about whether or not it's gonna be used by outsiders? How do we fix that?
I think that's a question for the applicant, and I don't know if Alan will speak for him, he's not here tonight. You know, we could talk through it. Alan mentioned that, you know, there's potential for outsiders to be able to use this. If that's the case, then it gets a little bit more complicated with regard to how business and so on.
Oh, then we need a variance, is what you're saying.
You need a variance or changing zoning, one or the other.
Right, but there's a lot of, what can we rely on is the question.
Doesn't it back up to the state?
No, you know what? What if someone comes to us and says, oh, we're not gonna let anybody in from the outside, and then they do let somebody in from the outside? How does that work?
That's an
becomes my
enforcement
problem.
issue.
That becomes
your
my problem, yes.
Right. So why do we want to create a problem for you?
I have nothing but problems, Alan. I'd love more.
You would?
Yeah, I love problems.
I mean, this is a significant thing in terms of deciding, because obviously if the spa is only used for guests of the hotel, then we don't need parking spaces for the spa. And similar with the restaurant. So if the restaurant is only for hotel guests, and you want, I see in your pages, you want to know how the houses are going to be rented out. Are they going to be single units, or are they going to be individual rooms rented out separately?
That's going to help us determine which of the existing uses the inn fits in. Okay? And I think, we don't see that as being an issue, right? It's just a matter of the applicant deciding sort of how they want to use this and letting us and you all know what that is. That's fine. Where it becomes difficult, because all of those uses, and we feel as though this is figure one, all of those uses are allowed or permitted through the special. Okay?
We just have to decide which one we think it fits into best.
Right. And that's going to be based on information that they provide in response to this, in response to our comments. And so I think with regard to the spa and cafe, I don't know if Alan wants to weigh in on this, but what we could do is we could let Alan go back, talk to the client, figure out sort of how they want this to work, and then come back to us with a description of what it is they'd like to do. And then from there, we continue the conversation as
We could potentially.
just guests, it's fine. If it's not, then we have to look at sort of other ways to get them permission to do what it is that they're proposing.
And if it's a zoning, if it's a variance they need, that would come later in the process anyway, if that's where we land on our selection.
Did that answer your question? John, do you have another question?
Well, I think maybe because we have no definition of a spa, doesn't it back up to the state definition or the dictionary?
Your code, yeah, home rule in New York State, your code dictates what happens in this town.
And the state
State has no say. Because spas is defined doesn't mean that you can't fit it into one of the uses that's already there, right? Sorry. Multiple ways to get the spa into a place where it will fit within this development program. It's not a non-starter, you don't have to go back to the code to find spa. So that's not an issue.
Just don't call it a spa.
No, we can call it a spa, but we can say that it falls within the definition of the UC as it applies to this code.
We have a lot of things that aren't defined in our code.
Yes. Yeah, and this isn't the only municipality, right?
Sure.
It happens all the time.
So let's move along from this.
So I think, based on that, we have a few additional comments. We asked, and Alan was gracious enough to come prepared to talk through some of the differences between the previous proposal and this proposal. I think that helps all of us understand sort of what the changes are, right? We know the less, how does that play out? So thank you very much for that. that's helpful. We've asked them to take a look at U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service website. I believe there's some ads that would be identified by this area that will have to be considered, generally speaking, and they're endangered, generally speaking, and that means you can't catch trees there 6 parts of the year, generally speaking. That'll be a conversation for later. And then we asked for sort of an update on conversations with DEP, which Ellen provided earlier, and I'm sure her provide additional information as we move forward, and as well as Department of Health, and provide that information tonight as well. That sort of wraps up what we've done. Were there any questions about anything that's in here, anything I talked about, the secret process, so what you do next, what do you want to do next, any questions about, do you want to assume the agency tonight, do you want to wait, how does that look to you all?
I think we should, distribute the notice of intent.
Yes.
I will say that DEP has reached out and asked that you please do a coordinated review.
Of course they have.
Very, very nicely. She was so nice.
And that's part of the process, right? The list of interested involved agencies, when you distribute a notice of intent with the SAF on the site plan, that goes to the interested involved agencies, that kicks off. So they didn't ask for anything.
No, yeah. This time. So we need what, a motion? A motion to signify our intent to notify. I'm sorry.
The motion to
Circulate for lead agency.
It's a notice of intent to serve as lead agency through the secret process. Who's gonna give me a motion?
I'll give you the motion.
Thank you.
Just don't make me repeat it.
No, no, it's fine, I got you.
Okay.
Second. He's not even looking at me. Would you like to second that motion? Thank you.
Circulate for lead agency. Circulate for lead agency.
Lead agency. We were last.
Love the
You can
enthusiasm.
do it with an all in favor, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
And who's gonna do that circulation, us or the applicant?
That's,
Did you guys? Perfect. That's fine. If you get him,
So just the planning
type it
board.
up and
Yeah.
submit it to us for review, and
And he'll sign it.
yes, and
I can forward it to you.
And please,
I just sent it to you. John, I just sent an email with the attachments. It's
very
all ready.
menacing.
Look at it.
please,
You don't remember the rattlesnakes? Oh my God, you said rattlesnakes.
They were there the last time.
we went through that last time too. Please loop us in on communications with involved agencies.
I'm sorry?
Please loop us in on communications with involved agencies. I'm aware. No, I don't mean just the snakes, I mean in general, yes. Yeah, that segment.
There's a den of them right
Like I
next
said,
to
the
the
neighboring houses on the, I just assume that you guys
He'll look through them. He hasn't received it yet.
They just didn't get it yet, John.
Yeah, these are very good suggestions and questions, and a lot of them are very important to be addressed in the plan that we see next time. So if
Yes.
that's a possible to do that, that would help a lot.
Because like 50 years.
Okay.
Just, you know, some of those have been addressed already.
Yeah.
Right.
Some of those have been.
Okay. I think, Alan, are you clear on the next steps for you guys? Okay.
Sure.
Parking, water, entrance.
Right.
A little bit, because we just saw this, we all just received this tonight as well. Yeah, he didn't, the stuff that we spoke mostly about, he actually, I don't think, does have on here. So he didn't know we were gonna speak about it.
We have tried to, taking your comments and everyone else's comments and regulations, and still have to, where's the understanding, still have to work through.
We are trying to work with less, they were trying to work with more, so it's a little different approach.
Okay.
All right.
And quickly for the
Oh,
planning
yes.
board, as we go through this process, if there are any questions that you have, do not hesitate to reach out to myself or Julie if you work on this with me. And if Alan's got questions and he wants to fill them through you, if there's things that we can help, if there's clarification needed, please use us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We started dialogue, but it told me I have to do some solving.
Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
I got a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, guys.
John's leaving.
We're having a brief intermission.
He's chasing down Chris.
Sorry. Oh, he is.
Yeah.
See, this is why I brought coffee.
I should have brought some.
Water.
Oh, 5 minutes, everyone.
Dehydrated here.
It's nap time. Now, who's gonna get John back in? This project. It's gonna, I think having SLR alongside you guys is gonna be really, really helpful.
Thank you. I'm Ken Pasternak, a member of Crossroads.
Yes, significantly.
Teresa Backner, who's our attorney, came down from North Albany. I don't know if we're going to get to her tonight.
I think that the initial.
We are. You guys are coming up right after.
Okay, I'm so a little worried about her driving back.
To the workshop, it had been presented more as like they had hoped that.
Where are you going?
Close, but.
Rather than it being rented to 11 different couples, it would be a group of people that needed 11.
Anyway.
No, you're on our.
Which I think makes sense.
It was not a
When they
wasted
start talking
trip.
about the way they want to have people check in and things like that. It stops making sense when you think of it as 11 different sets of people.
Okay, and when you lived up on the house we had,
No, Chris and I just spoke yesterday or Monday, and he just got on here, so he just submitted this today. Alan just got the request for that spreadsheet yesterday after you.
give a little history of what.
Alan.
I know, I drive past it all the time.
From Bernier and Larry's. No, he's
14 and a half
working.
to
He's
17
working on it.
at the steepest.
Yeah, he just received our request for it.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's why we like.
You gotta buy the paint yourself.
Oh, I know that.
I need some of these plants.
He also,
What's that?
painted my bedroom part of that. Got all the money.
Yeah.
He painted the bathroom too.
What about?
So is Kenny going?
Oh, yeah, I don't know what they were doing up there. The town uses them a lot for engineering consultants.
And I said, yeah, after the.
Yeah, we've used them a number of times ourselves. I don't know what they were doing here. And he might not know either. You know, they're a decent sized company. Yeah. What'd you lose, Vivian? Oh, you know what? Is that it? Did I steal your pen? This is my pen.
Well, I took this out of my bag because I couldn't find the is that what is,
Is there another pen? That I totally might have stolen.
this is yours?
I don't know. I might have just picked it up. You're right-handed. I'm left-handed, so I might have just grabbed it. One of these.
Doesn't look like mine.
It's a steep
Looks
hill.
like a different pen.
You're welcome to either of those pens, and I will take the other one.
Well, this one I got out of my bag, so that's probably yours.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's Joanne's pen, so I'm not gonna.
Let me tell you.
I steal pencils a lot at work too.
Right on the corner is the Kingsley, right next door to us. They have nobody there. People just go in and
Yeah, you
let
said last
themselves
time.
in.
Yeah, the clock is
And it's a
working.
big, big building. There's like 30 rooms in that building.
What do you mean nobody?
No, it's working.
There's no concierge.
What time is, oh, it's at 8:15.
No, it's
They
after
check in
that.
online.
Yeah.
They go to
Oh,
the
I should have
lockbox.
said it. It's
They get the
9:15.
keys.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's
Probably
nobody
what
there.
it's trying to say.
Nobody.
Yeah, they never set it for daylight saving.
I think they did. I think I'm just not reading it right because of the angle. I think it is saying 9,
It
yeah.
is. We're tired.
The millennials, these people who rent
At least I'm tired.
Oh, yeah. It's been a long
not
week.
like us, we don't go to the hotel, we don't have a gas to The only people I ever see is once a week, is cleaning girls come. So I guess to do the rooms, and that's it, then they're gone.
Oh, the lady.
No, he's leaving again. He's never gonna come back.
Right?
Sean's running away again. We're gonna have to get him back.
Don't go away, John.
John to vote?
We're not done.
I'm saying.
Yeah, John's gotta sit down. Where's he going?
So how much do you think his expenses to it? This is not consultant hours, and he's got to pay for our consultant, right?
Yep. And you know how much money they spent before?
No clue. I can't even imagine.
All of them? They spent
I cannot even imagine.
a phenomenal amount of money with other engineers and other.
Yeah, the one before.
Yeah. And they have nothing to show for it. The fact that that property is so steep, all that water coming down, the rattlesnakes, they couldn't do it. Whoever sold that, I didn't know who the people were that owned it, but let me tell you, they got rid of a headache.
One lane driveway for a hotel.
Look at the guy with the Bel Air police station.
Oh, yeah.
He paid $1 million for that.
Yeah, but that's
All right, it's a
different.
business,
It's a
yeah.
different thing. So how long, what is he started construction. The gas station started construction.
He got permits, but he hasn't started.
He started tearing down.
Yeah, he's got Dave's demo.
He tore down a couple of buildings.
Yeah.
But that started.
Yeah. You're gonna change around the emails, absolutely. We will do that. I have your email, I just never even thought to ask him to do it.
To see if he's doing it.
And then he's got to start. And then
Is that a what?
start construction.
If I got a problem, I got some good I told that to my owner. Put the shovel in the ground.
The problem is that in order to get a building permit, he has to consolidate the lots. He's afraid to consolidate the lots until he has a system. He wants to be able to sell everything separately. You
Can't have
can't.
it both ways.
You're right, exactly.
You gotta decide. You gotta do it.
It doesn't help the town to have a permit. He's stopping. If he can't do it, sell it.
And you see that Brian Powell is in the trouble for me.
Which one is Brian?
The one talking to Art.
Let's start right here.
So they're against the permit.
Oh, yeah, always have been. Those are the naysayers. I was wondering how many were going to show up. I knew he was going to show up.
I'm not getting you yelling, I'm not.
Okay, call it
We have a
to order now,
gavel?
boss.
Wait,
Yeah, where's John now?
John's back.
He's fading fast, though.
Stop, get one and one from there.
John is fading fast, we gotta get moving.
Yeah, John's making trouble.
The man can never just walk a straight line to a destination. It can't happen. I've never seen it happen.
I wasn't sure.
I wanna go to sleep.
Yes, that would be absolutely fabulous.
Okay.
You can yell at me. I'm not doing it. I'm gonna get you a gavel.
Vivian. I'd like to go home. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning.
That's so early.
And I'm tired. And no dinner. And no lunch. Yeah, I go all day without eating. Just have breakfast. Okay.
All right, back in action. You only have like 4 more items to get through. I'm just kidding. One item left. Crossroads Ventures LLC site plan extension.
Hi, my name is Shandaken. I'm with White Astroman in Canada, and I'm here today on behalf of Crossroads Ventures and Ken Astroman, who needs no introduction, who is here with me to also answer any questions that you have. Basically, we're requesting an additional year extension of the site plan and special use permits that were previously issued by the planning board. We do this on an annual basis because you have a year period within which your approval is good. And last year, my colleague Tom Jefferson was here. This year, I'm here, and really nothing has changed with the project in terms of the design of the project or anything else. You know, this has a long and complex history, and then in fact, the DEC permits were not issued until, I think it was 2022. They are still good permits. We have the AIP, the agreement in principle. The agreement in principle has one last piece to it, and that last piece is the transfer of the High Mountain ski center property to the state of New York. That's key to this project because it provides the basis for moving forward with the Wild Acres Resort, which I'm sure you'll all remember. Originally, we had 2 resorts. We went down to 1. That was Wild Acres, and that's really integrated with the state's desire to take over High Mountain. Does the state move quickly? No. The state does not move quickly. That's one of the problems that we've had with this. And just so you remember, there was a full environmental impact statement. DEC was the lead agency. They coordinated everything. There was a seeker DEIS, FEIS, and a seeker statement of findings. They did all their work first. They started in 1999. They completed it in 2015. Then we came to the town in 2016 and sought the approvals for the site plan and special use permit. You all issued the seeker statement of findings as the involved agency. And then there were lawsuits, and the lawsuits took us through to 2018. All of the challenges were decided in the favor of Crossroads Ventures and really in the favor of the planning board and DEC and all the work that they did up to that point. So that's a recap. You've heard this recap before. I apologize for adding to your burden tonight. You've heard it off a lot so far from people, and we're here to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you. So basically nothing's happened since last year as far as the sale at High Mount
Well, let me
sale.
maybe just give you a little more context, if you don't mind. I'll keep my comments to under 5 minutes, because this audience is the late hour. There's a lot of rumors about the High Mount transfer and about the project, what's behind the project. Just to recap some things on the record, being recorded, Emily Fisher and I own about 98% of the project. We're the owners. We teamed together. She's the majority owner, I'm the minority owner. I'm the managing member of Place Bean Gitter about 8 years ago when Bean retired in New Mexico and subsequently passed. I won't go too much on my history. If you care, you can read about me. Like when I say I can build a hotel, I just completed a 210-room hotel canopy in Jersey City in a union environment. So when I said you can build a hotel for X, I actually build hotels. I said you can build, just completed a 450-unit multifamily in Florida. I say you can build a multifamily for X. I built a 52-story skyscraper in Jersey City in 2017 in a union environment on budget, on time, so I estimate what construction costs are, I come credentialed. But getting back to the whole purposes of the project, you know, I unfortunately had a low 4s in my age when I started the project in just 70. I don't know if that's good or bad. I feel still pretty energized and committed. Most of you know I grew up in places. I actually was accused in the town board meeting in Shandaken of being in New York City interloper by somebody in the 50 years. I actually attended grade school. From K through 12, attended the Fleischmann Margaret school system. I went to SUNY New Paltz. I got an ed degree. And then I took the company public. In the 90s, a little bit of context, and I wanted to get back to the community. And I decided that the destination resort, that could change the brand here, would be the best solution. And I ended up competing against somebody who didn't know it was me. It was Emily. We kind of found each other and we decided not to compete with the partner because we had the same kind of civic dream to help the area. $25 million later, about 28 years later, we still haven't broken ground. We're as frustrated as the area. The good news today is, despite all the fits and starts, we're active. We, under the sponsorship of the Bel Air Conservatory, we had interested parties meeting at the Margaret Christensen School in the summertime, and we had a lot of stakeholders. We had our elected officials, we had town supervisors, and so on there, and most importantly, we had order representatives. And we do have a very strong advocate in order from Diane Monroe, who's a local, she actually went to Margaret High School with me. We graduated the same year, and her father-in-law was the superintendent of Bel Air, and her history has a long history of, she's a skier from youth to now at Bel Air Ski Center, and she's very dedicated to being additive. One of her legacies to the area, particularly of what happens to Bel Air. So we have a very strong advocacy through stakeholders and activist representation at order to have the High Mount transfer. And we've been actively engaged in a discussion about how to affect that transfer. It might even involve Shandaken playing a role. I don't want to get too technical, but there's a constitutional prohibition against adding skiable terrain to the park. Bel Air can't buy without amending the Constitution, which prohibits more development within the state park system. But there are ways that a third-party entity can be involved, keep it in non-state park lands, and lease it to Bel Air. And that there are discussions about a construct, active discussions. I don't want to predict an outcome because that's a dangerous slope, but I could just say there's political advocacy, there's stakeholder advocacy. Obviously, we're advocating a transfer, and ORDA is very engaged. The previous administration was not really that interested in the area, led by the recently retired CEO of the ski center, and the whole ski areas, the water organization, which was replaced with a very dynamic new CEO in the last 6 months. So that I could report that to you. I'm not going to stand up here and predict the groundbreaking, but there, you know, that's one of the major hurdles, as you can imagine. The whole uniqueness of the Bel Air Resort is to have a ski in, ski out, not a mere ski center resort. And without filling that gap in where you transfer High Mount to Bel Air Ski Center, and you become contiguous, is a gating issue between success and failure. I might add, and all of you know, that the ski center industry has really changed in the last 10 years. Wyndham became a club, and Hunter was bought by Vail Resorts, and really is a restricted use facility to season ticket holders who own a national ski pass. So Bel Air is booked. It's like a hot Broadway play that's sold out most weekends and holidays. And there's demand. They look at the demand that gets rejected, that their unmet demand on weekends and holidays is almost 100% more than their capacity. So they have a capacity constraint right now. And if you model out the return on investment right now for the first time, you get a tremendous return on investment on taking High Mountain and then spending the money to develop it and do it. So that's the advocacy of Florida. And as you know, they're both an appropriated agency and a bondable agency. They probably get between $100 and $200 million almost every year. And Bel Air rarely gets its fair share, in my opinion, even though we have made substantial progress with the gondola and better snowmaking. But not, if you look at the spend compared to Gore and Whiteface, it's like almost comical, I think. We haven't even got, I don't even know if the one time we did a study, it wasn't even 10% of what they spent up there. Anyway, that's my spiel, and the answer to the question is, I don't know, but I'm optimistic, and I'm always kind of optimistic, and on the record, I can say there's a bunch of stakeholders, including elected officials, ski groups like the Coalition to Save Bel Air, ORDA, and town supervisors that want this to happen. So I don't know if there's any questions to that. I'm sorry for so long-winded.
That's fine.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is there anything short of the full development that can be started early? Like, you don't have ski in, ski out for portions of your area. You only have it for the units up at High Mountain. So, can something be started in the lower section, which doesn't depend on ski in, ski out?
It's not true. Both the Wild Acres and the High Mountain Ski Center are ski in, ski out. So, they're building a lift into the Wild Acres, and then the High Mountain Ski Center, you can ski down the lift that's adjacent to it at the High Mountain Resort, and they catch the lift at the bottom and ski back on the cutback.
You have an agreement that they're gonna?
We do. It's part of the AIP. We do have an agreement that they have to build a lift into our, we have to pay for it.
Right.
But we do have an agreement, yes.
But where would that lift wind up?
It would wind up in the Wild Acres.
Right, and where does it end? Where does it take you to?
It takes you to the peak.
And you take the final turn,
Takes you to the
Bel
peak
Air
of,
right down to that little peninsula.
it takes you to the peak of High Mount?
Yes.
In between, probably at the corner of Deer Run.
Where you can see the old lift through the woods there.
Yeah.
So where the stop sign is, where you're coming down from the upper lodge.
Right.
The
So
lift would
can
be
that,
coming down right where that peninsula.
can that be done without taking over the High Mount trails?
No.
I mean, that would be done, but,
Please. If you want to find out,
no.
can't be done. Because it's part of their UMP. So ahead of the state file UMP, which is similar to a DEIS or
Unit management.
Unit management. And that whole jurisdiction, all the permits and everything are owned by the ski center, not by anybody else. Including that lift or anything that you would do there. On the 98 acres that are in the High Mountain Ski Center. Technically, all the permits are owned on that by the DEC, by order.
So what you're saying is that you're waiting for the state to act on the transfer, but that there's also a possibility that you could lease the land to the state?
Well, they could involve a third party, an agency. We've offered to lease it directly, but it's politically easier for them to lease it to, I'll just give you an example, the Mark project in Margaretville, or
Okay, I don't understand what the difference is.
the difference is that they can't own it because they're not allowed, once they own it, it would become part of the park. Keep in mind that ORDA is the managing agent and the Bel Air Ski Center is part of the New York State Park System. And the park system can't develop more than the 271 acres that's the present day Bel Air. They're not allowed to do any development on park land. So you have to keep it outside of the park.
The length of trails that can be established on state parkland for Bel Air is limited. So the trails on High Mountain can't become part of that, or like put them over the limit, requiring a constitutional amendment. So what they would do, and you hear them do it all the time, is they'll have an intermediary buy or accept a transfer of the land, like the Nature Conservancy in some cases. That's what they did with a lot of what was
The big Indian side, but even Sterling Forest was transited that way. And there's sometimes the municipality could get involved. And if you went up to our mountain, they worked with the town of North Creek, and that became the middleman, if you want to call it, against the same coalition in the Adirondack.
It sounds like great minds looking for a solution, but how long has this?
Well, when Spitzer was, who I'm somewhat friendly with, and now ironically he's in the real estate business as I am, and he gave me, he was how would I say? Well, he said to me, when I asked him that question, when he signed the AIP, he said, don't worry, we're going to figure something, an administrative solution with this, quote unquote, his word. Then we had other governors who were not that engaged. Then we re-engaged Cuomo very successfully. He essentially said, I'm going to figure it out. And then he had a similar type of, career-ending balance, I'll call it. So we had two governors who were almost at the finish line, figure out administratively how to do that. So it's not an appropriations issue, it's just appropriations are not that.
But you want another year to work on this mission.
Well, I would tell you very frankly, we'll be back next year if we don't complete it. We're not giving up, and we'll ask for another year. We've already been given extensions, probably for a decade. Yeah, so we're not telling you 1 year is going to resolve this issue. We're just coming here. If you gave us a 5-year extension, we would just have a 5-year extension. You wouldn't see us for 5 years. I'm not trying to be coy with you. I'm saying, I think there might be a resolution next year, but it might take 2 years, it might take 3 years. I'm not representing that the state's going to be that accommodating.
Well, just to be specific, it wasn't until 2018 that the last lawsuit was decided. So it was only from 2018 till the present where we could have had any help trying to do this project. So that's not 10 years.
But I'm saying that not for this, but the AIP was signed in 2008. So you had 10 years of litigation where we had other entitlements that we've been renewing on 1 year, 3 year, 5 year cycles, whatever their stated cycle is. For instance, we have a water taking permit to take the water to strategic resort from the Delaware, we're in a Delaware river basin, which goes all the way into Pennsylvania, and we get a permit to take a certain amount of water. We read that permit perfunctorily, I think it's every 3 years or every 5 years, and we've been renewing that since 2007. So there's a whole bunch of other maintenance, if you want to call it, that keeps our entitlement going, that we're processing. We're going to be going tomorrow to the town of Middletown and asking the same thing that we're asking.
But if this is a good idea,
I don't.
somebody has done
Well, I think it's complicated, well, it's complicated, that's what all those said. I mean, the good news is that Emily and I are stubborn, and we really like that to be part of our legacy, that we produce a resort for this historic area that we both care about.
So,
I think all of us are in favor of the project, but it doesn't help us not to have it start.
I think.
It doesn't do anything for the town if it's not started.
You don't think we'd like to start it?
No, but I think you should, I don't know how to phrase this, but I think we should be more open to also figuring out ways to start it. You don't have the chair to highlight.
Well, I can tell you that I've done $5 billion worth of real estate development. You can look me up on Wikipedia. If I knew how to do that, I would do it. I don't know how to do it. If you want to counsel me how to get the capital that would be interested in a non-contiguous ski center and build a portion of it, I'd love to hear about it. I don't know how to do that. And I wouldn't want to dissuade you that I have any hope that you could build anything of economic relevance without the timeline.
So I have a question. We got, the planning board received a letter from Thomas Shepherdson about this project.
Yeah.
And it mentioned that they're no longer that I guess you, because you were good enough to come and explain the project, which we've never, I mean, as long as I've been on the planning board, I've never heard actually somebody whose project it was come and answer questions. It was only the lawyers, and then they don't know all the details. So I'm very happy that you're here. So apparently, market studies, it says, confirm that condominium development is preferred over timeshares.
Well, that's another issue. I don't want to muddy the waters here with it.
Well, the question I have is, I agree with that. I mean, timeshares are not popular.
Well, they're scanning their duties and not scanning it.
Yes. Condos is a whole different story. And it sounds like for investment purposes, people would, it sounds like that's what the letter is. For investment purposes, they would prefer not having timeshares. Is that an obstacle to getting investment right now?
It is.
Did you ever have an investor that was ready to step in once the sale transfer was completed?
We did some marketing and we could progress. We had a lot of interested parties.
So there's nobody who stepped up and said, I'm ready and waiting, just that one thing has to happen?
They didn't want to invest their time. It doesn't work that way. I'm actually on the other side sometimes of that, where people are pitching me in on different projects. There's a whole world of projects that are, let's call them, like more shovel ready, I think is the term that they use. So until the timeline transfer, they don't want to spend their time and effort to model it out and engage. The amount of due diligence you have to do to figure out the economics and then put together a cap set for a project. And I think you said that has been going through 27 years, probably the longest approval process to get shovel ready in the history of New York. And if it wasn't for Emily's commitment, morals, even mine, most people would have given up already and they would sell it for something else. But we really had a vision when we started investing our money, and we're still investing our money. Our costs are significant to pay for, our property taxes, not trying to wind me, just saying it could be anywhere from $250,000 every year that we're pulling up to try to get across the finish line. Emily's almost 90, I just turned 70.
So I guess what I'm wondering is, if the plan with the timeshares is not really economically feasible because it's not going to be sold.
If we don't get the approval, that would be the issue similar to the time transfer.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
This won't be built unless the timeshares approval is amended. So we have two asks. Here we're just asking simply, in front of this board today, we're asking to extend our existing permits without change. We're not changing anything. We're asking the town board to amend some of the regulations. We're not in front of the planning board, we're in front of the town board with a letter to change, to allow, to make no other changes to the resort and just allow us to convert our entitled timeshares to force us out.
So I had brought this up to the Ulster County planners, and they said there's no way that can be done because as soon as you change it to condos, it's a subdivision and that has to go back to square one and be approved as that.
That is not accurate. We discussed that with county planning back when we were putting this together, and that was related really to an issue of dwelling units and the language of the zoning code itself. So, what the applicant has asked for of the town board, not the planning board, is that there be condominium use allowed just within the confines of the existing project exactly as it would appear today. No change. And just by way of comparison, that language is in the town of Middletown. They have that provision, and it applies to the project as it is in the town already. So it's merely just an amendment to the town.
It seems simple when you put it that way, but actually it would void the permit.
No,
Because it would void the permit.
No.
Because the agreement that we all made with the lawyer that represented you last year was that if there was any change to the project, the permit would not be renewed. Correct? And remember that specifically.
And we reviewed the minutes of the meeting from last time before this meeting. And in fact, the only reference to the desire to change the zoning code at the town board level was the fact that you were then, and you still are now, in comprehensive plan. So you have not yet adopted the comprehensive plan. You've been working on it for several years. We provided comments with respect to the comprehensive plan as we found it on the town website in January of this year, just to address the project, the importance of the project to the area, and the desire to change when they adopt new zoning to go with that, to change to allow condominiums.
But that doesn't automatically mean that the permit transfers to the new plan. The new plan is a change, and it's no longer the same plan. So then the permit expires.
Kind of plan that maybe there's other points of view, and maybe that has to be studied a little more.
Well, that's exactly the point. It needs to be studied, and we can't just transfer it to the same permit. It just doesn't work that way.
He's not asking.
That's not for our board to decide. We're just here to discuss extending it.
Right.
But I don't see a point in extending it for a year when the plan that they want to do is not the same plan.
Because they're just asking us to do that.
But what would be the purpose of extending it if you're not intending to build the same
Because you're
project?
making an assumption that we have to go back to square one. We don't believe that's correct.
That was the agreement last year with the lawyer. I remember, Joanne, you said that. You made him agree with that. Said if you change anything about the project, that voids the permit, and you have to come back and redo it.
Depends on your definition of change.
I think changing to condominiums is a
That's your
significant
opinion.
change.
Not
I'm
everybody-
putting that out. I mean, that's
Yeah, I
my
know.
opinion, but I think
Right.
that's basically what our zoning code says.
But
And if we
that's your
change,
opinion.
well, I'm just stating how I see it.
Okay.
Yeah, because if the zoning code has already said the permit expires after a year, and we're pretty much giving you a variance to extend it, it's a variance from our
It's not a
zoning
var-
code.
it's not
I mean,
a
I'm
variance.
saying it's not called a variance, so, but it is actually asking for an exception.
It's just an extension.
Extension.
Right, but that's still not allowed by our zoning code.
It's
So
not, it
disallowed
is,
by the
it's
code.
not, it's not disallowed by the
It's-
code. I've spoken to the lawyer.
The lawyer said that we have the ability to override that as a planning board. Yes, but it didn't say that that's a desirable thing.
Well, we
And
have
it's
to
really a
take
very
vote on it.
irregular thing to
Then
do,
we
and
have
it's,
to take a vote.
No, it's our prerogative. That's,
it is our prerogative, but I question the the need for it, and I question the desirability of it, especially since,
Let's take a vote.
of,
yeah. And you,
I
and you have a vote to speak with.
right, naturally, we have to take a vote.
So-
I'm just trying to state
What would
the
you-
way I
what-
see
What would you
it.
gain from the town if you made us go back to square one? You made 90-year-old Emily. have
It'll never be
Emily
done.
Go back and spend another 25 million. What benefit would you have not to give us an extension? Let it work through the proper channels.
That's exactly what I'm saying, let it work through the proper channels. I think this is the proper channel, that we haven't even had any community input on this project for
All right,
more than
let's-
7
can
years.
Can I get a motion
Uh-huh.
to
Yes,
vote
I
on the
make a
extension?
motion that we extend the permit.
Can somebody explain to me why this is a desirable thing to do?
Because what you would do is make them spend another $25 million. It'll never be done. It'll never be done if we vote against.
We have a motion on the table.
Yep.
Before you go on the motion, the public has the right to be a part of
They
the-
don't, they do not. Can I get
Not
a
a
second,
public
please?
hearing.
But this is, okay, this is my point. It's been 7 years of renewing the permit with no public input. The community has changed in some significant ways. And we
It
have
was-
no way of knowing whether the
It was
community still
20, it
wants
was
this
20,
project.
20 years of public input. There's public input every year.
Every year.
There was
there's
one
public
person
input.
allowed to speak at the meeting last year.
Who was that?
Was that? Okay. And this was not a hearing, this was not open to the public, this was just, he was allowed.
We're past that stage.
We're past the stage of a public hearing by 7 years.
I
By
make my
7 years, we
motion.
have
Alan
that.
made a motion.
I make a motion.
We need a second.
I'll second.
We have a second.
Cliff Buffo.
Yes.
Art Christie.
Yes.
Joanne Cowell.
Yes.
John Horn.
Yes.
It's a motion
We're
to
voting on it
extend.
because the public is not being allowed to speak.
Because that
I want to
conversation
make
is
a note
inappropriate.
of that. That last year, the public was allowed to speak. I think we need to hear what people have to say.
John, yes or no? Yes
Can you
or no?
vote, John?
Yes or no?
You all
For
know
the
there's no
extension.
town in the state that would do this. You all understand this. Why are you doing this? Why don't you just give us 30 days to open up and see if the public wants to comment?
John, can you vote?
John.
Proposed project in
Can
the
you
history
vote?
of the town.
Yes or no?
The region.
John said yes.
I say yes.
Alan Shiner. Sam Scott is not here. Vivian Welton.
No.
You're welcome.
He always has a lot to say.
I have to say, on the record for the public.
All right, please.
It's not me, I'm not representing anybody, there's 3,000 other people in this town,
Please.
Everybody is going to be
Good night,
discouraged by
Elizabeth.
the largest project ever proposed in Fiji. And you guys think, well, let's just, send them all for another year, irrespective of whether it's condos, whether it's explained. This is like a nightmare joke you are imposing on the residents.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.